Hello and welcome once again, whoever you are, wherever you're watching from, or whenever you're watching, to our daily Limbus company ID study and book reading. Today we will be taking a look at these following IDs, the Fauvists students that were recently released. Now, I am going to chart them in the stream because I don't actually own them. I do have the currency for the event and the enough boxes for charting Rhodia, and today we are also going to continue reading the select works of Yiseng. Now, one thing of note that I need to say today, there is going to be maybe an extra long session of stream. I'm not sure, maybe, who knows, depends on how things go. And I have noticed that on the previous streams, I have been sacrificing the quality of my mirror dungeon and of my reading by reading the text, the book, during combat. And sometimes I have to pop into combat mode, then pop into the reading mode. And that has unfortunately been sacrificing a bit of the quality of the stream itself. So, to keep a nice flow, a nice little flow of book reading and combat, so we can, you know, get both of them working together, the study of the ID and the combat, and the book reading, I am going to be reading a page of the book between each node of the mirror dungeon. But first, we also have a little extra today to read that is not related to the ID, neither the mirror dungeon. It is Dante's notes, which I have been, unfortunately, neglecting. Now, without any further ado, let us begin, shall we? The first thing we're gonna do is get the IDs. I don't actually own them, so let's get them nice and ready. Let me just open up a space here for the team. There we go. Let's go get that ID that I don't have yet. No, muscle memory is acting up again. There we go. Yes, I am aware that there is the Reflect trial that was recently released. That will come for its own stream, maybe during the weekend. All right, acquiring Merceau. Oh yes, another thing that will probably take a little while today is the fact that I don't have a lot of XP tickets. And so we'll probably have to hit up the new fancy consecutive XP excavation. Welcome, Dunscanelli, welcome. Right, we got Merceau, let's go get Rhodia. Now, I do believe I own some Rhodia shards. About 150. We need 250 more. So I reckon about 150 cases will do. Rhodia. And 109 tree. Perfect. We got enough for uptide too. Nice. So this is the part I like about Limbus the most, is that I don't like gambling, believe it or not. I am not a streamer that goes, oh, gamble, 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 despite me making a few jokes on stream sometimes about the gambling part. I much prefer to turn the luck into certainty. Now, let me just check something here, because I think I did this again. Hold on, where is... not it. Face scan, webcam, filters. Did I disable it? No, I did not. I'm just skittering out again. All right, let's get ourselves a Rhodia with big Rhodias. Huge Rhodias even. Both of them acquired. Next step is to uptie them. And as per usual, when I uptie ID, I am going to be using the voice, you know. This voice, because I like using this voice to announce things that are Dante or a announcer in the game. And so, when we read lines that are Dante, like Dante's notes, and or a narrator in the uptie story, we will be using that voice changer, because I like it. It's quite a nice. My keybind is working. Perfect. Here we go. Let's begin with Merceau. Let's get him uptied. I need to use the device I have here. I could uptie it normally with thread, but I don't have a lot of thread. So we're going to use the takeoff module because I have it. It's a resource. I intend to use it. We're going to save one of these, of course, for Ricardo Heathcliff that is coming up. But for now, let's see some backstory. Bea is getting an announcer. Oh my! That'll be fun.
First, thread the suture through the eye of the needle. 27. Suturing sinew is synthetic C-twist fiber assembled by using the ingredients Coracum brachialis, muscle, and calcaneal tendon. It is threaded through the number 2 bodkin needle. Then, suture and close the facial incision located on the interior. The feedback received at the critique session discussion was the animal in focus to be made more obvious. Therefore, parts taken from other animals have been removed wholesale, and additional primary material has been produced to compensate for missing components. Now, place a thick patch of reasonably pre-trimmed material over the fascial incision and suture it shut. Using only the primary ingredient will fall short of the tensility goal established when my original blueprint was conceived, which was designed with access to a wider variety of ingredients in mind. Still, the technique will allow me to achieve a similar effect. The current objective remains the same. Receive an evaluation higher than a B- and attain a measurable improvement beyond the status quo. Because it is customary for individuals who have chosen to join this collective to engage themselves with a constant output schedule and steady improvement in evaluation. Further adjustments to this objective seem unnecessary. The docent has advised that I could perhaps use the desire to coil the ring twice. Thrice around my finger as a fuel to obsess myself with completing the work. However, I have no desires of the kind.
I do have to say, what do you mean by coiling the ring? I have seen mentions of the ring thing of the ring coiled several times. Maybe that's like a similar device to the middle tattoos they use, and by coiling the ring you can probably pull out more power at a cost. In any case,
other points of feedback from the docent were likewise executed without issue. I have watched 62 videos of dog fighting pits, paid 7 visits to the Fauvists Animal Conservatory, watched 71 documentaries on predatory animals, and spent 284 hours living alongside the primary material candidate. However, none of these advised activities has led to observable improvements in the evaluations of my work. The purpose of the assignment is to feel what it is to be a Fauv, to be impulsive in a way that only animals can. However, as the instructional manual did not include any reference on how the aforementioned feel could be applied to artwork, I have been unable to identify a measurable means by which it may be transplanted to the physical medium. I have punctured the transfusion bag. Blood prepared for curatorial staging is leaking out. Revisiting these memories must have made me somewhat emotional. The touch of my fingertips has become too rough. In such a case, temporarily seal the perforation with a large gauze sheet. According to instructions, materials with this level of thinness requires number 21 ultrafine needles and 6 times the laminated nerve fiber thread to handle. This fiber is too brittle. Experience dictates that employing the number 18 bone needle with myofiber thread would be most effective for this task. I will continue to attempt the current method nonetheless, as I must work in accordance within the instruction manual. This work will require a longer time invested than initially calculated. Enough blood has now leaked to drench the material's auburn fur. While this has the potential to partially constitute an expression of Le Fauve, the instruction manual did not state that products of happenstance can be used for this assignment. As such, the blood will be removed. Perhaps the veracity of these instructions is to be doubted and reviewed. The concept of Le Fauve, conceived as a product of my experience, does not seem to agree with what is conveyed by the instruction manual. Because what is more fauve than the crimson that so insidiously encroaches upon the brownish pelt like that of a wild hound that has just torn open its prey's jugular? Yet, how much faith can one put in what their gaze has beheld? There is no empirical method by which this perception can be impartially confirmed. Then, judgment will be reserved. My ability to patch the perforation on the transfusion bag before the complete loss of blood is limited by my insufficient skill, which means that more of the ingredient must be gathered. This artwork aesthetics qualities have not met the standards, but its functional merits have been field tested and proven. Its claws extend near instantaneously from the retracted position when the starter cord is pulled. It is highly functional. Each claw in this work has a sharp edge, making it most suitable tool for harvesting ingredients. The artwork's inner lining is a subcutaneous fatty layer that has been rearranged for a comfortable fit when equipped over an arm, and beneath the enveloping fur is an enclosure made from mesentery to minimize damage to its interior. My submissions have constantly scored a series of B-, which can evince that there is a degree of objectivity to my aforementioned assessment. However, I have been unable to address the feedback from my work that my work lacks punch, which is an evaluation that has little to do with the artwork's functionalities. Just what am I supposed to do? Injection needles inside the helmet have been activated. The paint enters my bloodstream, reinforcing the connection between me and my work. And myofibers, the material used to carelessly construct the artwork's interior, firmly wrap around my hand, allowing me to wield this tool as if it were a part of me. The injections ensure an easier time collecting my ingredients, even as dozens of assailants present in the harvesting grounds pursue me. However, a disadvantage of such a method is that it instills excitability in the user. Emotional excitement begets impulsivity, which makes the prospects of clawing things into unrecognizable red paste is a rather irresistible proposition. If only I could paint them over with my brush. Wouldn't that too make for a fine piece of art? What a shame. Wow. If only the instruction manual specified that such a moment of passion could be redirected towards my work. It would have enabled the composition of better art.
All right, so we pretty much confirmed the Fauvists. We already knew this. They're furries. They're fursuiters. They wear their fursuits, and their fursuit consumes them. Interesting. And they also probably drink paint. So there's also that. Right, very good. Rapid identity uptime not available by the LCR R&D team. Forcibly inserts the shimmering threads that weave the shards together, rapidly raising the uptime to a certain level, while those outside the mirror may not know. His devastating injection sweeps short-lived destruction through the mirror. Interesting. Let's use it again. On to Rhodia.
You sure this is the docent's artwork? Hold on, why doesn't it have any fur? Where are the claws? There's no way the docent would skip using a wolf as the motive of her piece. Maybe you didn't examine it thoroughly enough. I did, right there, see? There's an autograph on the side. That's Miss Rhodium's alright. Anyone who joins the School of Fauvists carries a beast or two tucked away within their heart. Some cuddle up to a cat, others leash a dog, or a goat, even tied real close to the core of who they really are. Well, doesn't mean they can actually handle it, but hey, everyone got at least one they draw from their inspiration.
Hello, Moises. Hello, I currently have 400 shots for Heathcliff. What do I shard? I mean, which Heathcliff do I get? Save up for 2 weeks for Ricardo Heathcliff. That's my advice.
And in my case, it's a wolf. A whale, though, that's rather unexpected. Do you think she decided to switch styles? That can't be right. How many artists do you know who survived these reinventions? Sure, changing the beast you're gonna stick with is a hot topic in the School of Fauvism. But I say that's the kind of nonsense idiots with no eye for beauty like to chew on. Anyone with a halfway decent eye would have clocked it already. I'm still running with a wolf. Yep, still there, nestled in my heart and my work. Hasn't gone anywhere. Hear them? Hello, didn't I tell you to keep it down during viewing hours? The walls have ears around here. Don't let the little bird going around telling people stuff, hear ya? If ya know what I mean. Well, the students are making a valid point. From fellow docent. Chasing trends, flipping identities on a whim, it's a ugly sight, to be frank. I know, it does kinda look like you're not committing to your frustration. Folks get satisfied with a shallow, little scratch and they call it a day. Not my thing at all. Yeah, no, not a lot of people pull that off and make it work, right? Besides, the maestro anyway. Well, the maestro's an outlier who has an exceptional understanding and reflection for every beast. She returns from Nietzsche's excursion with a new fixation, yet it seems to deepen the profundity of her work all the more. That's true, and looks like she's back from a little excursion on the outskirts this time. In any case, it would have been prudent to address the students' concerns. They might just walk away with the wrong impression otherwise. Will you be walking with them through an interpretation of that piece? Still on the fence, honestly. Was kinda hoping one of them would connect the dots without me having to draw the lines for them, you know? They always say what matters is the only... They always say what matters is only the things your eyes can see, but if everything has to be so conspicuous, where's the fun in that? I guess even a single layer of interpretation already too subtle for the student's artistic perception. Fangs sunk into the whale hide, sternals stretched tight to keep it unrolled, all of them pulling together like a pack on the hunt. That ferocious medium taken from wolves makes then real hidden artwork. If they just look a little closer at the seams, they'd be blown away by the intent of the maker. I know it feels like a waste of educational material to spell it out, but perhaps you could give them some guidance. A proper lecture to toss them a bit of inspiration. The students' grade lately, let's just say, they've seen better days. They probably haven't been exposed to more recent iterations of artworks. Not exactly a promising batch, huh? Well, there is that one over there, and maybe that one the other one or two. That one? Nah, seeing his artwork is like staring at something that's been declawed before they even learn to scratch. No creativity, no curveballs, just straight lines and monotony. Still, his grasp on the theory is flawless. But I do understand why he doesn't stand out in your eyes, Rodia. You've always been exceptional at encapsulating ferity in artwork since you studied days. Your old piece, Hunger, Thirst, is still being exhibited, you know? One of the few students' artworks deemed worthy of a pedestal of its own. You gotta be kidding me, that thing is still up? Hunger, Thirst. Subpar junk I slept together with whatever rotten scraps of meat and hide I could get my hands on, back when I was freezing my bones off, hungry as a wolf. Wasn't about chasing art, just needed something to catch the ring's eye. Figured if I got noticed, I wouldn't have gone to go to sleep hungry. Didn't know a damn thing about fundamentals back then, and yeah, people couldn't take their eyes off it. What was that critique again? Apparently it's laid bare the hunger of a beast and the brutality that stems from it. Thought you'd be more flattered? Actually, I'm not a huge fan. It's mine, yeah, but it's just grubby. Not that I don't get why people are reacting like that. I mean, I couldn't recreate it if I tried, not in a million years. Fair enough, then let's leave it at that, shall we? I got some money in my pocket now, can actually splurge on whatever materials caught my eye without a second thought. I get to put together some solid pieces and it'll go out on hunts. But back when I created that piece, this kind of life wasn't even on the table. Yeah, now I understand what they mean by ferity when they talk about that artwork of mine. Still, I would never want to go back to those days just to encapsulate that kind of ferity. Alright, guess I'll schedule a lecture session tomorrow. Busy today? Got some business at the House of Spiders. So the rumors of its collapse were true after all. But if there anywhere they're worth picking up, the last person who went said it remains such the same, just corporate works cluttering the place. There's gotta be something waiting there if the maestro's sending me out of anything that needs collecting, right? Who knows, maybe it's finally come together. The long-held wish of the House of Spider has been weaving for ages. Yeah, I talked a big game, but figures, nothing I'd expect to see. You can't ride the same success forever just because it used to pay off. You gotta be willing to cut it loose when it starts going stale. People get bored fast these days. If your piece can't be branded with the words groundbreaking, viewers will just walk right past it. I mean, just look at this place. That gallery must have been lacking visitors enough for some strays to just walk in and build themselves a cozy little nest right in the open. I can see every bit of ya. Not a point-blank coin behind that pillar. Come on, get out of here before things get awkward. I've been hearing about this more and more uninvited guests wandering the corridors without a guide, without a sense of occasion. So what is it between us? Have we met before, or is this our first meeting? Hard to tell with those tasteless masks you're wearing. Your outfits are a bit different from the last ones. I saw that logo though. Yep, same crowd. So many artworks crammed in here, you couldn't even begin to count them all, yet somehow the whole space feels hollow. Word is that Corporate Maestro hasn't had a real spark in decades. Lost his edge and faded like a candle that burned out. And it really shows, walking through here, it's all the same stuff everywhere I look. Same pattern, same ideas, things I swear I've seen somewhere else before. No wonder people say the School of Corporate is way past its prime. Normally, trespassers in the corridor get torn apart on sight without any questions asked. But hey, maybe you're the last audience the House of Spiders Gallery ever gonna get. Feels like a waste not giving you even a simple tour, right? Even a dump like this deserves a final hurrah before it disappears. There's plenty of detail and intent here to talk about. Not like it's hard to play curator either. This is Door Breach Team 5. We encountered a ring. Requesting confirmation of any viable escape route. This one. See how the arteries and veins are stitched together. Each thread woven one strand at a time. It's a duet of blood vessels. The artist went out of his way to almost completely drain the blood, meaning instead of color, it's all about the elasticity and tension in the vessels. Now, this is the kind of art you wouldn't even try if you're not confident with delicate improvisation. I won't lie. This is one of these techniques where I just fall flat. If some student brought this in, I'd be like, darling, he's got some serious talent, and mentored it myself. But from a maestro, kind of underwhelming, don't you think? Enemy has begun commentary on human-based artwork within the corridor. Likely a docent of the ring, then? How should we proceed? Oh, and this one, where here preserves the dying screen. See this part? Press that, hear that shriek. This on the screen sound. How should I put this? It feels kind of dated. For iterations like this, the trend today is something with a more refined style, a little touch to soften the screen to a melody, or instead of screen slipping, something that gives you a glimpse of the last bit of hope of making it out alive. For all the detail put into this, it's so old-fashioned. Still, you'd think this would be a bit much for people who ever know art in their whole lives. But hey, you're holding up surprisingly well, kind of suspicious, honestly. You've probably been zipping her all over the place in this corridor, seeing a few of the rings exhibits. Or if you run into afflatus that exist between corridors, could be both.
Now, afflatus, what did that mean?
Continue recording both commentary and physical characteristics of the enemy. The logical conclusion regarding the identity of the subject points toward her being the ring's docent. However, the subject may also be a combination of unknown phenomena or a lost, mimicking human form.
A lost mimicking human form. Oh my! Hold on, let's get some terms here. That's fascinating. Hold on. Afflatus and a lost mimicking human form.
In which case, alright, moving on to the next piece. Excuse me, you guys even listening? I mean, sure, points for taking notes and all, but art isn't something you memorize from a note. You're supposed to really feel it. Take it in with your whole body. Subject has stopped at the commentary. The device has been set up. Should we withdraw, sir? Let's do it, that. Fall back for now. See, this is why quality matters when it comes to viewers. I'm out there here narrating, taking the time to walk them through all this, and they're not even pretending to listen. They're just tapping away on some weird gadgets. And now they're running off without leaving any proper comment on their impression. Haha, well, can't be helped, I suppose. Have it your way. And so I grabbed the bright red line made of braided blood vessels and tendons, and just yank it tight in one go. Claws snap into place, clattering out this sharp little rhythm. And along those taut strings, the bones of beasts line up all neat and pretty. There's a unique structural beauty when all falls into place. All units disperse and relocate via designated routes, avoid engagement and move to adjacent corridors. No, she's too fast. Flattened and crushed, torn apart and ripped apart. The uninvited guests are sprayed and splashed across the snow-white halls, leaving crude streaks of red lines. It's a form of art too intense and overwhelming for the undeserving. But once you're breathed into the side, there is no helping it. Let it dig a scar into your sensibilities for life.
All right. So we got some new terms here for the corridor. I mean, the corridor is literally just the back rooms, but fascinating. Fascinating stuff. All right. That leaves us with one problem. We do not have enough XP tickets to get this thing to max level. So I'm going to focus on her first, see if I can pump her. Up to 54, a little more. There we go, 54. We are going to have to do some mirror dungeon XP farming. That means spending some lunacy. You know, the lunacy I didn't spend for, you know, getting the IDs. We are probably going to have to use it. Why does it show that I can get? Another thing that I could do to hasten this process is go to the event and use the tickets I have to buy more tickets. There we go. Silver and left. Dinners. Let's go to Rhodia. Rhodia is 54 now. Level it up. And it's a little bit of a waste, but fine. And for Merceau, here, no, not you, the other Merceau, yeah, the furry one, correct. All right, still gonna need more. That means, again, we are going to have to do some XP excavation. But before we get to that boring little part, we are going to read through the dentist notes without my narrator voice because I have been neglecting these. I forgot it was a new one every day for a little bit. So starting off with the nest, talking about Wayfarer Corporation. Wayfarer Company, with a recent series of incidents involving Warp Corporation, this new business entity arose to supplant its place as the new W Corp, in other words, a winged hopeful. Faust explained that their core technology called portals resemble the properties of backdoors. From my recent unintended use of them, which has been quite frequent truth be told, I find them incredibly convenient. The way portal works, one door leads to another, without requiring a connection to corridors, as backdoors do. I heard that portals still have some instabilities that may cause side effects, but I don't think I've experienced or witnessed any so far. Where did I stop? So far. Considering what Faust and Otis have mentioned before, it might simply be because I've only been using expensive portals, but there could be another reason for it. Currently, it seems they're working with Limbus company to establish forward bases through the corridors of the House of Spiders, and look into the back doors we didn't then. We had the chance to work with team leader Alan from here. He has a bit of a corporate attitude, but he's generally amiable and seems favorably disposed towards us. So warp trains have finally failed off. They have been failing because it's been a string of failures. First, we had the issue with during Library of Ruina, where members of the Blue Man group, I do believe it was Elena and Jae-hyun, the puppeteer, sneaked in and managed to get their hands on first class passengers, and then they were sent to the library, meaning that the warp cleanup crew couldn't go and recover them. So imagine if you have a corporation and suddenly an entire train worth of people, including wealthy people from first class, suddenly disappear with just like that. That's gonna tank your perception of the public of you. And then there was the Intervallo that we played, which was Murder in the Warp of Stress. More people were disappearing and not being able to regenerate. So yeah, they are kind of falling off, and so probably the Wayfarer is going to take their place with a new transportation method. Anyway, we had a chance to work with team leader Alan from here. He has a bit of a corporate attitude, but he's generally amiable and seems favorably disposed towards us. Though after seeing his straight up stalking Kira out of nowhere, not to mention the unsettling subtle coldness hiding between his words, can't blame myself for not wanting to see him as a decent person at the end of the day. Alan said Wayfarer's primary service includes pathfinding, path security, and path maintenance. It doesn't seem like the paths he mentioned he referred to corridors, but I doubt I could have gotten more detailed explanation considering it is a closely guarded corporate technology. Now we have the fingers, let's see the ring. Ring, ring, oh ring. Curse my curiosity, because they actually compelled me to pay Ryoshu a visit to ask her if she was planning on what she was planning to name her school. It was... curse my curiosity, because it actually compelled me to pay Ryoshu a visit and ask her if she was planning on naming her school, what it was going to be called, and various other questions that seemed to annoy her. Needless to say, I was kicked out rather unceremoniously mid-question. I don't know how many schools of art and sex there are in the ring, but after hearing Ryoshu's philosophy of aesthetics and art, Rufo, a docent of the Fauvists, claimed that they would cultivate her until she could establish her own movement. If one day Ryoshu finally completes her own movement, will the ring acknowledge her as a maestro? I wonder if that means members of the Ryoshu school could speak in acronyms, just like she does. Jesus Christ, it's gonna be a nightmare. Alright, Shin, with the hiragana for Fu. Now, this is good lore. Let's take a look at it. I'm sorry if it's going to take a little bit. We haven't even touched the IDs yet, so let's take a look at good lore. Shin, a power that strengthens the body, manifests through emotions and the mind. Said Vespa and Virgilius, but I'm having a bit of trouble understanding what it is from that explanation alone. That said, I don't think I can do a much better job of describing it. I just see Shin users surrounding themselves with some kind of golden aura, and the next thing I know, they suddenly become stronger. They're Super Saiyans! To summarize what little I understand, Shin sure seems like an incredible technique that allows people to enhance the strength and durability of their bodies without spending a single coin, and all it needs is some kind of training and meditation. Virgilius did mention that its output varies depending on one's emotional or mental state, but well, whatever limitation it has, I don't see why anyone would not use this power, right? I asked team leader Moses from LCD, who apparently is researching this power, and she said learning and using Shin isn't always the best choice. Moses refused to elaborate further. She said she could explain it only once she had properly formed a workable hypothesis. Apparently sinners are unable to use Shin without overlaying themselves with identities, not while they're packed with me-hodes. I was going to ask if I could learn how to use it too, but I missed my chance because Kira asked first. But if sinners can't use it, I suppose it would apply to me as well. I wonder if I could use Shin before I lost my memories. Vespa said that someone who had never once reflected on their sins, like the middle nurse father, would be incapable of even comprehending and using such a power in the first place. Makes me wonder what kind of person I was before my head was swapped for a clock. I remember Lei Hang saying that Meng is amassing Shin and converted it into a ring of light around the user's body parts or weapons. But since I don't know how exactly that's done, I can only guess that the number of rings serves as a measure of how much stronger the user becomes with it. According to the Sinner's experience with Meng and Shin wielders, performing attacks with Meng wrapped around makes the same motion or technique a lot faster and stronger than before. Ishmael speculated, with some uncertainty, that the Ring of Light itself probably doesn't contain some superpower, but rather acts as a kind of gateway through which the power is channeled. Otis added that the rings might function similarly to the rails of a railgun. Since I don't know... Hold on! There are railguns in the city?! Let's not dismiss this a little bit. There are railguns in the city? I guess they are. We do have... what's it called? Bang Bang Full Stop Heathcliff that has like a railgun thing. Since I don't know much more about even Shin myself, I wasn't able to ask detailed questions about Meng. The most I got was Vespa complaining that each additional ring doubles the mental strain. Come to think of it, why does Meng contain emotions like resentment, dismay, and yearning? Why does Shin, the power of the heart, coalesce into Meng? Yiseng said perhaps it has something to do with hopes and desires being the unseen hands that stir the heart, but I don't think that can sufficiently explain the phenomenon. And that is all for Dentist notes. Very good, very nice. I learned a little bit more about Shin and Meng, about more Water Corp, and a little bit more the ring. Now, I do believe I have to go get some XP before we can actually deploy into the Mirror Dungeon, and for that I apologize. So, I said I wasn't going to use Lunacy, and I'm not going to. Let's just deploy into the excavation. I think I can do just 2 of them, that won't be enough. We are going to have to use Lunacy here. Pop. I hate using Lunacy to recharge Enkephalin, but it is what it is, ain't it? There we go. Let's hang around, chat, and it's going to be the, you know, the middle. So, railguns must be as expensive as creating portals. Saying this because from what I know, bullets are very costly in the city. Yeah, and there's a lot of limitations about how you can use the bullet. Stuff like the bullet cannot penetrate the a certain thickness of metal. Oh, hold on, I forgot to stack XP excavation. So there's a lot of rules for using guns, such as the bullet cannot penetrate metal, it cannot pierce a wall of a building, and among other things. So hold on. Sorry. All right, consecutive battle. I can do 7 consecutives. Here we go. So just hang back tight, we're gonna have a little bit of fun here. You know what, since we're here, might as well look up the bullet thing on Library of Ruinas. So, Olas Tamaki page Ruina. There we go, that was the name of the gun girl, if I recall. Family violence. Alright, here we go. This website sucks, I forgot about it. Alright, full stop office, where is the Tamaki's page? Here we go. I'm gonna read these for you since I'm on the reading. Actually, hold on, can I put this on my book reading window? Yes, I can. There we go. Very nice. Let's get a little zoom. I don't know how good of a zoom it's gonna be. Okay, I accept your cookies. Go away. Well, there we go. It's the best I can do right now without breaking the entire page. There we go. So let me just set up the fight here as we read this. There aren't many workshops that can craft guns. Setting aside the low demand, the difficulty of acquiring a firearms manufacturer license and the head's strict guidelines are the biggest limitations. The guidelines include clauses such as the maximum length of the gun barrel must be shorter the higher the gun caliber is. No gun should possess the firepower to penetrate steel or building walls. A gunfire sound must be audible, and I haven't even started with the bad ones yet. So we already have a bunch of like no things you can't do. The first page of the guidelines boldly states, do not research or imagine technology that infringes the firearm manufacturing guideline as provided by the head along with a license. I'm not a gunsmith myself, so I don't know the details, and I frankly don't want to know any more than that. There certainly are workshops permitted to make S-class firearms, but I'm guessing only 3 to 5 of them exist in the entire city. Who do they take requests from, where they are, and what kind of people run them? They're all a mystery. The most I could hear was a rumor that an S-class workshop exists somewhere. People say that the head put heavy restrictions on firearms, because they don't want its denizens to be harmed too easily. It's true that a gun can effortlessly kill a person with one well-placed shot. That's not all. The assailant doesn't have to show themselves to attack, and a flying bullet is simply too fast for the average person to track with their eyes, making it a fine weapon for stealthily killing others. But making it harder to kill people doesn't seem good enough reason to impose such restrictions. What about the countless other trifling and useless methods that exist to kill people? I just cannot understand that they would see this as a solely philosophical issue. Are you asking if it's because the wings don't have sufficient technical expertise? I'm not here for senseless chatter. The wings could easily make superior weapons with their technology. There's no real reason they couldn't improve upon the current designs. I just want the purple. I just got a purple Mac. Fuck it. There are probably some people who feel the same as me. They don't question it further or try to dig deeper into the truth because, well, they have their hands full with making their ends meet, right? And they don't want to risk losing it all meddling in business secrets, I suppose. So there you have it. Guns are... How was the original Full Stop even able to pay the bills and keep their profits up for I don't know how long? Apparently they were having a hard time. This is Tamaki. They were having a real hard time doing that. And it's like one of those things where you have to take into consideration the operational cost of the whole operation. Are we actually going to get paid enough to counteract the operational cost of running a gun-only office, you know? And they did have Leeway, which was a high-ranking fixer that could, you know, fight hand-to-hand as necessary. So, you know what's good about this whole very long XP excavations that we can do now? Is that we can get to see the character with maximum stacks of middle-style tattoos. And so that's going to be pretty fun, I think. Like, it allows you to properly bring over the full power of an ID. Let's see if there's anything else about the other two. Alright, let's see Leeway if he has something interesting to tell us. Alright, this is from Leeway's. Let me just give the orders here for destruction. Purple Haze! Alright. A color is the dream and lifetime goal of all fixers who wish for freedom. Those who have been assigned a color are called the colors. A color is the pride of the fixer and the association. They put forward the colors of the great and successful people that other fixers will look up to. They dream of earning wealth and fame and to be free like them one day. Colors are assigned by the Hana Association. They are bundled in such a category because the Hana deem them to be the most ideal fixers. Because they are the most adequate individuals to deal with the stars in the city, the title of a color is forcibly given to fixers who qualify. Essentially, can a fixer be truly happy with freedom that was forcibly handled to them? White colors of all terms. Hold on. We got 3 staggers. Address me. Alright, moving on. Man, how crazy the middle team will get when they hit card. Oh, I am so ready for it. I do love playing the middle, they're fun. Anyway, white colors of all terms when there are many other stylish words to choose from. I have no comment to make since I don't know the reason myself. My assumption is that the colors are used because giving people hues representative of them makes it easier to refer and to remember them by. It may not be the answer you were expecting, but it can't be helped. The colors have their own ways of working. They have basically nothing in common. It's akin to how visible colors have their own vibrant characteristics. In that sense, the term colors isn't entirely off-putting. And finally, we have Stefan. I don't think he has anything good for us. Let me just give the orders for kill. Let's save our purples, because this is one-sided destruction time. Alright, moving on. Skill fixers use guns for self-defense. Bullets cost an arm and a leg, and foes who are relatively powerful tend to dodge a shot like nothing. And I can barely graze him. There's not a lot of ways to react to enemies closing in either. You'll have to be quick on the draw and shoot in at the weak spots. If you are, the other options are running away or grabbing some prop to guard yourself. Like hell, that'll save you. It takes several augmentation procedures to be able to carry something as heavy as a firearm and run fast enough. If you're a sniper, you'll be busy packing up your weapon's mount and everything. Have to make unnecessarily big movements, and what if the precious gun gets damaged if you try blocking your foe's attack with it? Oh, I was talking about the kind of guns me and Tamak use, not firearms in general. You see what Liwei's carrying? Ahead there are lighter rifles and some that come with bayonets for close quarters combat. But mind you, those guns have their fair share of downsides, so don't be too quick to buy them. You might as well save the money and get a quality workshop weapon or augmentation surgery instead. Hell, you could probably buy a fine weapon with the money it takes to buy bullets for target price. We weren't planning on using guns in actual fight without ever practicing, were you? I mean, go ahead if you really wanted dislocated shoulders and severed fingers. Severed fingers from shooting a gun? I mean, I guess it can happen, but I suppose there's some other downside for guns that we don't really know much about, right? And it appears that they have quite a bit of recoil despite their low power. Despite all this, there are still workshops that manufacture guns and people like us who use them. Guns are just that comfortable to use. Those heavy taxes won't be a problem as long as you use your gun for its intended purpose. Hold on. How many defenseless thugs standing in the middle of the street can notice a bullet flying toward them? Of course, it'd be even better to get specially made workshop devices that use spectral technology to muffle the sound of gunfire, but don't expect too much. There's currently no technology in our world that can completely cancel out the noise. And it won't exist in the foreseeable future. You don't need that to make guns work, though. All it takes is an advantageous position. Oh, sorry. Right, so a little bit more lore about guns. Because I like guns. I like playing video games with guns in it. They're fun. But generally speaking, I don't like guns that much. I much prefer we still fought with swords, honestly. I am a true city bloke. I like melee fights. It's more personal, you know. There's a reason why a lot of movies will go out of their way to, like, a lot of movie settings in general, like Star Wars or whatever, any other stuff you want to see, try to incorporate melee fighting. 40k, for example, Warhammer 40k, because melee fighting is more personal, more dramatic, more emotional, if you will. It's just fun to look at. Well, there are people that try to make gunfights look like melee fights, and it looks horrible. And most of the time you see a gunfight is something Hollywood where they're just discharging bullets after bullets after bullets, not hitting anyone for show to try and make it more dramatic. When real gunfights, it's not that dramatic unless you watch something from Africa. In any case, guns in the city, they suck. Don't use them. Good enough for me. Right, we gotta finish this mirror excavation here, and then we'll get into the mirror dungeon looking at the AD. It's taking a little bit of time, but it's a good thing that it lets you guys gather up so we can properly study the ID, and then we can get the reading of the book, which I have it open right here. Now, if you recall from last time, and I don't know if you guys are enjoying the book reading, this is Yisank selected works. It's a bunch of stuff that Yisank made, including poetry, which I know it's not like ideal for a stream and read about poetry, but I said we're gonna read it, and we are. And we got to the meaty potato part of the selected works, which is the essay about the journey to the mountain village, I think it was the name. And we are reading the part called Enwa, which is almost word by word describing the city and the state of the citizens in the city. And that part, I think, is incredibly important for us to read, to get a better grasp on how the city and its inhabitants are. Because remember in the text how it says, like, even if a dog gets hit, they don't do anything unless it hurt enough. So yeah. I mean, I guess I should read it while we're doing this, unless you guys want to talk about something. Because you're just going to watching the middle kick-ass. It's kind of a little bit in the way, but yeah. Very nice. Hold on, where did we stop last time? So, oh yeah, I said that at the beginning, but when we are going to be doing the mirror dungeon, I only going to be reading the text in between the nodes, not during battle. In battle, we're going to focus on battle, and outside we focus on reading. One page at a time, so we don't like slop it all down non-stop. Hold on. What's reading window? Right, let me just. We're pretty good to go. Avoid the purples for this turn, so we can do more damage. We can do more damage later. I counted at 12 envy absolute res. Yes, that's where we're going. The trick about playing in the middle is really just sometimes give up on your attacks for a counter to empower your other characters. It's the same thing with the Kurokumo clan, where you want to like, okay, I don't have enough lust to make a resonance, right? But one of my characters has a lust guard or a lust evade. So that's what I'm planning to do once Ricardo comes out. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So here's the thing. We don't need to use this absolute resonance. We just need the 6 to empower everything. But I like to because it's fun and it empowers the lowest. The further down the... Okay, so this is never explained ever in the game, as far as I know. When you have a resonance like this, for every skill of the same color further down the line, in the resonance, they gain more offense level, naturally. So Merso here is gaining a lot of offense level right now. He's at 74 offense level. His attack does not have 74 offense level. It's extra damage and extra clash power the further down the resonance you are. So the slowest character will hit harder. And besides, you activate effects for the character's special. In case of the middle, they get to use their empowered S3s as counters. For Dawn on the... For Dawn, for Sinclair, and for Ishmael. Paired up with that Eagle, turn Eagle gives Clash Power. No, it does not give you Clash Power. It gives you Final Power. That's extra damage. And unfortunately, that gift only applies once. So you have to do it only once, and then it only works once per combat. So in one turn, if you can get a big 7 absolute resonance, you get 7 floor power on that. So you save it for when you do want to do the big damage. After we're done killing them, I'll show you exactly what I mean. That gift is very good, but you have to be more tactful about using it, because sometimes you want that 7 power when the enemy is about to pull something powerful. Say you're fighting one of the secret bosses. So anyway, just like playing Kurokumo Clan, the middle is about sometimes giving up a attack to empower your other guys. And since their defense skill is a counter, you're not really losing that much if you get attacked. And they kind of rely on their teammates getting attacked to obtain power-ups. That's beautiful. Oh, he punched Dawn. Guess what happens next? He gets obliterated. And she just converts the final tattoo power that she needed. I never actually got her to get 10 tattoos in a row, like the max stack of tattoos. This is unprecedented. I love this. I love the long fights. They're so fun. May the slaughter never ends. Sinclair is powered up. He has 10 books of vengeance, so he gets the full power of his passive. Kira is also fully powered. Dawn doesn't need it because her gimmick is just having the envy resonance. It's so much fun to run the middle, I tell you what. Cat? Ah. Look at her go. Family violence. Let's get purple. Let's get more purple. Hit me. Hit me, come on. I'm right here. Hit me. I can't wait for Ricardo Heathcliff, man. Alright, come on, I need XP so we can start on the mirror dungeon proper. I did tell that it was going to be a longer stream, so don't worry about it. I'm not trying to hurry this up. It's almost Friday. Most of my students have skipped classes the last few days, so I am just kind of vibing. Because I don't know why they skipped. There was a holiday here in Brazil, so maybe that was what. Right, final wave, I believe. Yeah, that's the final wave. Only a few more enemies to go, and then we get a buttload of tickets. Which is what this is all about. Come on, hit me, hit me! Hit me with your best shot, come on! I am a teacher, yes, I am an English teacher here in Brazil. I am doing college on languages, and I am slowly learning Japanese as well. Speaking of college, my college has returned. Soon I'll have to study on the afternoon instead of just bumming around playing video games. That's why I do the reading. Because, you see, as growing up, as a lot of people can relate, I didn't really have any set goals in mind. I didn't want to be a police officer, didn't want to be anything. I was just trying, jumping from job to job, trying to find what I was going to do. And then I said, hey, my mother is a teacher, and I've seen her teaching. I learned English by myself, maybe I can teach that. And so I started teaching English. I taught English to my best friend, and now he is fluent in it. And yeah, I decided, yeah, things like the genes of being a teacher run in the family, so might as well do the most out of it, right? So now I am a bona fide teacher. I can reliably call myself a teacher. Yeah, hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me. That's why I decided to do the whole, let's look at the IDs, let's learn them, let's read the books, because I can take what I already know a bit about how to teach people and apply it on a stream. And maybe that will attract some viewers. Maybe attract you guys somehow, so you're here. Right now, I mean, we're not learning anything, we're just learning that the middle is fucking awesome. Oh yeah, there's no struggle here. There is no struggle in any Luxcavation, man. The only maybe one that was struggles because of the Unbreakables is the Slash one, but even that, you just take a basic healing ID support and you're good. I also noticed that despite we eating a few attacks because we were using counter, everyone is pretty much at full health. You notice that? Hello, OG5K, how are you doing? You're in hell right now. Oh, so are we. Six resonance is all that we need. The more the better, but... Oh, look, easy peasy level, because it is. Here's my advice for someone that grinded this game for over 2,000 hours. If you need XP, right now we have three different types of XP Luxcavation. So work towards building 3 different things that can reliably clean the XP Luxcavation without very little to no input from your end. Then, now that we have this sequence of Luxcavations that you can do in a row, you just put these guys there and let's say, hey, do a rampage. That way you can grind for other characters that you want to use, but you need to have like the workhorse team, you know? You need to have the essential workers. Playing Library of Ruin right now, and I'm tired of doing these Abdo fights. Man, that's the main draw of the game, the fun fights, man. Those are the most fun fights in the game. All right, here we go. All right, boys, hit me with your best shot. I just find it funny that it's so easy to do the excavation for the middle using the middle IDs. And she gets to use it again, see? Oh, you punched me. It's so fun. The enemies are just coming to get their ass beat at this point, pretty much. And here's the thing about the consecutive excavation that makes it really, really good, is because a lot of characters, a lot of IDs need certain conditions to ramp up their power. Say you're running Heishos, they need their mutations. You're running a Heisho Adapt, they need their special resource. You're running the middle, you need the tattoo power-ups, you need charge for a charge team. The fact that this battle can go as long, a very long battle, allows you to gather those power-ups, meaning that the subsequent waves that are gonna come, they're just coming to suffer. Because they can't do anything about it, because we are powered up, you are fresh with 0 sanity, you are screwed. Alright, let's finish this and get onto the mirror dungeon. We need to study the IDs yet, we haven't seen what they can do, and I haven't read their kits when they released as well, because I'd rather have the kit in my hand rather than read on Twitter or whatever else they posted. And this is without any ego gifts, mind you. They are doing this much damage, all they're doing, without ego gifts. The middle is a very good thing, and that's why I much prefer to run teams that synergize with each other from the same faction, rather than mishmash them together to, say, make a bleed poise team or something like that. I did that once or twice, it was alright, but I much prefer a concise, focused team, because when you're concise and focused, you are really strong. They post it on the Discord sometimes. I don't use Discord for Project Moon stuff. I had very bad experience with it. Oh, come on, man. Pinocchio's the easiest one. Just read the cards. Just you know what you're bringing, and you can just, you know. Here's a tip. Oh, look at that. That's a nice little amount of tickets. Yeah, I like that. All right, back to it. Let's level up our boy Merso and get studying. Do a lot of XP, almost all of it to maximize him. All the blue ones. Ooh. Ring Roading and Merso are the first bleed sinking IDs, I think. Well, we can check it out. We can go over here and we'll go by bleed and by sinking. It lags a little bit when I do it. I'll check this out later. All right. Anyway, let's begin at this point in the stream, about after an hour, this study of the ID. Starting with the Ring Fauvists student, Merso, standing at 212 HP, 427 speed, and 59 defense level. He is weak to pierce attack, but resistance against blunt. He possesses the sin of wrath, pride, and lust, with a clashable lust counter. So, pride, lust, clashable counter. His passive is the Ring Fauvists student. On hit with base skill, he inflicts one Mold Color Rune. Mold Color Rune has a max stack of 9. When hit, gain 1 bleed potency for every 3 stack, once per turn. Turn end, gain 1 defense level down, next turn for every 4 stack. Turn end, lose 1 stack. Meaning we reduce the defense level of the enemy that has this effect by 2 at max stacks, and gives then a lot of bleed potency, up to 3 bleed potency. The bleed potency here is very good, and we inflict 1 mold color whenever we hit someone, but the max stack is 9. So let's keep going. This counts as inflicting negative effects with the skill. Turn end. If this unit has inflicted 10 mold color rouge during this encounter, gains Le Fauvists Mask de Chien. Mask de Chien deals 5% damage for every 3 mold color on target, max of 15%. Inflict 1 more bleed, sinking potency with base skills. Before hitting with a base skill, target does not have bleed, inflict 2 bleed count on the target once per turn. In other words, it's a damage buff, it inflicts more bleed and sinking potency with our base skills, and if the enemy does not have bleed, we add a little 2 extra bleed count on them. But this only happens after we hit 10 attacks. So his skills are 1, 2, 3, right? Back to it. Alright, see you around, OG5K, have fun! At coin start of the Ringed Fauvists Docent Rodion's critique skill, the Ringed Fauvists Merciful gains Imperfections Addressed. It's a damage buff for him. On reuse of a coin in the Ringed Fauvists Docent Rodion critique skill, he heals 3 SP. Turn start of the Ringed Fauvists Docent Rodion does not have reflection, this effect expires. So when Rodion uses her critique, he gains a damage buff and heals SP, meaning these two don't really need a SP healer. Now for the active passive, for Lust Owned, Welling Inspiration. If this unit has the mask, inflicts more mold color. Every time this unit inflicts 4 mold color, he heals SP. This unit SP is at max, he gains 1 blunt damage up next turn when this unit heals SP with this effect once per turn. So every time we hit the enemy, we apply color. At 10 color applied, we gain the mask. The mask appears to be permanent. And once we have the mask, once we apply 4 color, we heal SP, and it gives us a damage bonus. So they are very focused on self-damage bonuses here and inflicting a lot of bleed count. Very good. Let's take a look at the skills, shall we? Rough Portrayal, a 3/4/4, meaning this is a 11 roller with 62 offense level. Deals 5% more damage for every type of negative effect on target, up to a maximum of 15%, probably capping at 3 effects, so it's pretty, they can self-apply this damage bonus. On use, he gains coin power for every 6 sum of bleed and sinking on the target to a maximum of 2. Again, making this the usual escalation of skill 1s that we have, that is 11, 13, and 15. It inflicts 2 bleed, and on the second coin inflicts bleed count and sinking count. Skill 2, Visceral Strokes, a 4/4/4, making this a 16 roller. Same effect as before, dealing more damage on every type of negative effect on target, but this one has a maximum of 20%. On use, if the target does not have mold color, he gains an extra clash power. On use, he gains coin power for every 6 sum of bleed sinking on target to a maximum of 2, making this skill go for a 4/4/4 to a 4/5/5/5 and then a 4/6/6/6. So it escalates into 16, 19, and then a 22. On hit, it inflicts bleed, sinking, and bleed count. This thing has a very good bleed count application, I like it. And finally, the final skill, Le Fauvisme, Reveal Submission. It's a 5/4/4/4, making this a 17 roller. Most S3s that we have seen nowadays have this low rolling value base because it requires you to feel the conditionals to use it, so this is probably no different. Deals 10% damage for every type of negative effect on target to a maximum of 60%. On use, final power +1 for every 4 sum of bleed and sinking on target to a maximum of 4, turning this skill into a 9 +4/4/4, making it a 22 if I'm not mistaken. 4/4/4, that's 12 plus 9, 21, yeah. On use, at less than 50% HP, or if the target has 5+ mold color, use coin tree an additional time and convert all coins in the skill to Unbreakable. On hit with the additional coin, randomly inflict mold color on target divided by 3 bleed or sinking potency, max 3, reach, rounded down. So we have a magical number here. At less than 50% HP or 5 mold color, skill tree becomes empowered. All right. The skill by itself inflicts bleed, sinking, and another mold color. Remember that mold color only goes to 9, so it's advisable to keep that count in mind. Defense, it is a 4/4/4, a 12 roller with 62 offense level. It's a clashable counter if this unit has Le Fauvism, Masque de Chien, base power plus 2, making this a 14 roller. If unused, the target has Son of Bleed Sinking plus 6, he gains another coin power. And finally, Inflict Bleed and Sinking. Very good. So, this is the Ring Fauvist student, Merceau. Welcome, Student Trauma. We only have to watch out if the enemy has mold color, and for skill 3, we use the mold color on anyone that has more than 5 or when you're at 50% health. All right, moving on to the huge meaty potatoes of the team. That is going to be the Ring Fauvist docent, Rhodia. Rhodia has 227 HP, 4 to 7 speed, 60 defense level. She is fatal to pierce but resistant against blunt. She possesses the sin of gloom, envy, and lust, with a lust empowered and a lust clashable counter and critique. 2 of them. Huh. All right. Let's check her passive. Her passive is Mentorship. Turn starts, she gains La Hommage, equal to the number of Ring student identities on the field, once per encounter. La Hommage, it's a maximum of 3. Randomly gain 1 offense level up or defense level up for every stack, max 3. This effect expires. Interesting. If we had the other 2 students of Pointillism with us, she would gain the buff from this, but we unfortunately do not. So she's only gaining a random offense level up or defense level up. Occasional systems like a conditional for clash power, coin power, final power, even base power up. That's the entire game, Moises. The entire game is about conditionals. Usually you'll be ramping up your sinner, or the enemy will be ramping up themselves based on conditions they can usually apply or someone else can apply to them. It's no different here. Most of the, for example, the Kurokomo clan, which is my favorite clan, my favorite team, it gains a lot of power by enemies having bleed, which is the thing they apply. So, it is 2 ego shards. Use the instruction ticket to hopefully just get a shard, but no time. It's not taking me a Yi Sang idea I already have. You shouldn't be rolling acidic trauma. Don't roll. Save it. Save your studency. Turn start. Randomly apply number of the Ring student identities on the field, offense level up or defense level up, to any 2 of the Ring student identities. Max 2 once per encounter. Prioritize the Ring Fauvist students. So she buffs the thing as well with offense and defense level up. More damage reduction and more damage in general. And at every 3 offense level, it's an extra clash power. Le Fauvism, Color Savages. Combat end. Inflict 1 palette vignette next turn to enemies that have mold color rouge, mold color blue, and touch hardy simultaneously. Okay, so the enemy has to have all 3 colors for Palette Vibrante to activate. Let's see. Palette Vibrante, max stack of 4. It takes number of stacks times 2.5 extra damage from Ring faction identities. If the attacker is in both the Ring faction and the School of Fauvism action, take stack times 5 times % damage instead. Combat start, randomly gain 1 bleed, 1 sinking, 1 bleed counter, 1 sinking counter, stack times. Combat end, the effect expire, have mold color rouge and mold color blue stacks on this unit. So Palette Vibrante is a mark that applies a shit ton of extra damage on the target that has it. But for the target to have it, he must have all 3 colors. Touch hardy, mold color blue, and mold color rouge. If the target has 3, 6, 9, mold color rouge and mold color blue, each inflict 2, 3, 4 Palette Vibrante instead. Was inflicted based on the effect that has the least stat. Right, so if the target has 3, 6, 9, each inflict 2, 3, 4 Palette Vibrante instead. Amount inflicted is based on the entire effect. Okay, so if the target has several colors on then, the blue and red, she also applies Palette Vibrante. This one just applies 1 if we have all 3 on them regardless of count. And this one here is for if you have a lot of color on a target. This is automatic, but we're going to be looking out for it. So look out for Palette. So we're going to be looking out for Palette Vibrante because that's extra damage. Turn end, gain 1, mask the Lu. If any one of the following conditions met, inflicted Palette Vibrante 3 times, counts as once per turn regardless of the number of times inflicted during combat. Use critique 2 times, use burst forth from the pulsing crimson under your skin. So we gain our mega buff, which increases our min and max speed, inflicts more bleed and sinking with our base skills. On hit, the target has 3 model color, inflicts sinking. And if the color has a rouge, inflicts bleed. So it's a giga buff, increases the amount of sinking and bleed we apply naturally. And if the target is painted, that is another count that we apply. That's pretty damn powerful. Anyway, if she uses critiques 2 times, so let me mark that down. It is critique 2 times, fourth 1 time, and Palette Vibrante 3 times, once per turn. Oh, I don't gamble. I know you're talking amongst yourself there, but I don't gamble. I don't like gambling at all. So, needs a rougher touch for this part. 2 Lust Resonance inflicts 1 Molcol, Rouge, Blue, and Tishardi when we're Lust Resonance. That's pretty easy to apply. All right, on to the skills. Vehement Overpainting. It is a... It is a 6/7 skill that rolls a 13. It has 62 offense level, deals 5% more damage for every type of negative effect on target, and if the target has Palette Vibrante, that's another 20%. Gains Clash Power and Final Power for every 4 sum bleed of sinking and target on every 4 sum of bleed and sinking on the target to a maximum of 2. That's pretty damn. That's literally Clash Power and Final Power. If the target has 4 times the negative effect, reuses the coin max once. Inflicts bleeding, picks sinking, and model color rouge. Skill 2. 4/6. Expression of primary colors at 63 offense level, a double coiner, making this a 16 roller. Deals more damage for every type of negative effect on target. If the target has Palette Vibrante, that's more damage. If the target has 2 types of model color, that's even more damage. She can double damage with this if everything is perfect. If the target has 3 types of negative effects, Palette Vibrante, and 2 types of model color, that's double damage on this. On use, Final Power +1 for every 4 bleeding or sinking on the target. Coin Power +1 for every 2 types of negative effects on target, which is incredibly easy to get. And she can get 3 coin power out of this, making this a 4/9/9. That's 18 + 4, that's 22. Inflicts bleeding, inflicts mold color, inflicts sinking. If the target has 5 types of effects, inflicts touch hardy. Touch hardy. Max stack of 2 takes 10 HP and SP damage from bleed and sinking effects for every stack. Max 20, rounded down, and loses. So on her skill 2, if target has 5+ negative, inflicts touch hardy. There we go. And finally, the skill 3 and its subsequent empowered version. Le Fauvisme de Chaînement Brutal. 4/3/3/3/3, a 64 offense level that rolls naturally a 9, 12 to a 17. Deals 20% more damage for every type of negative effect on target. If the target has Palette Vibrante, that's extra damage. Before use, if the target has 6 types of negative effects, activate as burst forth the opposing crimson under your skin. Alright, so we have our magical number here. S3, if target has 6 types of negative effects, empowers it. Got it. Coin power +1 for every 4 sum of bleed and sinking on target to a maximum of 2. It inflicts the color, it inflicts red, blue, it inflicts a lot of count of bleed. If the target has 5 types of negative effects, that's another touch hardy. And touch hardy only stacks to 2, so her skill 3, if the target has 5, it's already applying 2. Alright. Let's see, stream, target, 5 negative, touch hardy. Got it. And finally, burst forth the opposing crimson under your skin. A 3 attack weight, 64 offense level, with a 5/3/3/3/3. It's an unfocused volley, deals more damage for a negative effect on target, a little bit more. Palette Vibrante once again deals a lot more damage. Coin power +1 for every 4 sum of bleed sinking on the main target, maximum of 2, making this a 25 roller. It's an unbreakable, it inflicts lots of bleed, lots of sinking, and touch hardy once again. And once she uses this, she goes into furry mode. Finally, we have her clashable counters. A 5/4/4, 62 offense level. If the target has Palette Vibrante, does more damage. Before use, if this unit does not have reflection, and if the target has 3 types of negative effect, activate as critique. And how do we get reflection again? On use, final power +1 for every 4 sum of bleed and sinking on the target. Inflicts bleed, moral color, blah 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 blah, more moral color, more bleed, got it. Most of these are automatic, so I'm not going to keep them in the back of my mind. This is what I mean about some IDs. You need only to locate the magical number. The magical number is sometimes like, oh, the target has 5 negative effects, that does something. Just locate the magical number. Everything else, these applications, are automatic. You can't do much of anything. Right, critique. Deals 10% more damage for every type of negative effect on the target. If the target has touch Palette Vibrante, more damage. If the target has Palette Vibrante, she gains more clash power. If the target has 4 Son of Bleed and Sinking, that's final power +3. Clash power +2 for every 2 types of negative effect on target. Skill N gains True Reflection. Second power gain low mileage, next turn equal to the number of beings to the field. Reuse this coin once for every 2 types of negative effect on target, max of 2. Alright, got it. We use our counter when the enemy has 3 negative effects on him. Got it. Alright, I think I understand now how this character works, kinda, maybe. The new IDs get more and more complicated, so they seem scary at first, but it's really a matter of experience. Let's begin building our team. It's already been 1.5 hours, so let's hurry up. For starters, we don't really need a SP healer because they self-heal SP. So we are going to be taking the Pequot First Mate for that extra bleed on a critical hit. We don't technically owe any critical, it don't gain poise, but we'll gain on the dungeon as we progress. Faust is going to take in the House of Spiders because that one gives us, it gives us bleed on an attacker. What else could we have here? We don't have Gluttony, so we can't activate Mouse. It's excellent passive. Our damage is Slash and Blunt, I believe. Blunt and... no, it's all pure Blunt. We're pure Blunt. Got it. Blunt. Blunt. We could get defense level down from here, and that counts as a negative effect, so it would hasten our ability to activate our stuff. Don Quixote is going to help us the same thing here, Haitial Pack Wave Branch, because this one here works on Rupture or Sinking, and that's an additional defense level down. Unless, let's see. Which keyword ID do you have the most of? I have all the IDs. Sorry, I don't have one that I keep track of which one there is the most. I literally have all of them. Let's see. Come start one SP gain 1 damage for every 20% HP. I think maybe Anti-Clanker Faust for SP. They already self-heal SP. They really don't need an SP healer. They need more negative effects on the enemy because... hold on. Resonance heals 15 SP. For Bleed of the True, I'm trying to make... yeah, I'm gonna use Faust here, base Faust, because she applies defense level down with no limit. It's just a chance, we're gambling again, I know, but it's a chance of applying true offense level down, and that's a negative effect. And our characters gain more damage, the more negative effect the enemy has. Do you have the necessary Blood Fiend IDs? Brother. I hate to do spreads like this, but there isn't an ID that I do not own. Like, at all. I have literally everyone. Oh, you're talking to acidic trauma. Disregard. Right, moving on here. Ryoshu, how can you help us? We do not have gluttony, so we cannot activate your base passive. We do have the Kurokumo clan Wakashu here, which is inflicts more bleed. We also have Encorp, Ego, and Contempt all. I don't know. I'm paying attention to 3 different things at the same time. Sorry, Acidic. Alive the ears, hit the enemy using second, inflict 1 bleed. And has bleed, inflict 1 bleed, hit the enemy, inflict 1 thermal against the attacker. And has tramp armor. We can actually take this one. It's a lust resonance, and I do believe our lust comes from skill trees. We're not gonna activate that much lust resonance. Let's take the Kurokumo clan Wakashu. Do we have envy? No, we don't. Honglu, I'm thinking about taking Hooklu because it's a simple passive. Allow with the fast speed, if it's an enemy that has speed, gains attack power up, so it's extra damage. Unless there is a better option. Well, the better option is always here, you know. How's the spider's nurse father? What do you do? Turn an inflict true offensive down +1 bleed count next turn on enemy with fast speed and focus on counter the part. It's a 3 lust resonance. Offense level down is pretty good. I would honestly get well, I don't know if you grind as much as I do, acidic trauma, but I would get anything that is going to be unavailable unless you're planning to grind for 400 shards again to get Index Dawn. You might want to focus on what you can get this season and save up for Walpurgis. But that's just me. That's how I've been operating. Hitcliff, how can you help a bleed thinking team? You do have Wild Hunt, and Wild Hunt is very good. Problem is that it is a Gloom resonance, and we only have Gloom on Rhodia. So I'd rather get something else. She Association is a Wrath resonance. We do have Wrath on Merso. I guess we could use it. We're also dealing blunt damage for the most part, so we can take this one. It's a good extra damage buff all around. I think we're gonna take most of the Kurokumo here. So moving on to Ish. Ish has Edgar Family Butter, which I do recall is more damage. I think it has sinking the yeah, that's 20% extra damage. We'll take it. Up to 20%. You know what it is. You know what it is just as well as I do. Now that I think about it, he doesn't have very good bleed IDs, but whatever. You know what it is. For Otis, Otis, what do you do? Allow fast speed of the enemies that kill that attack and heal 10 HP. One allow the fast speed of the enemies kill that attack and inflict 1 bleed count when inflicting bleed potency skill. Points effect next turn, 3 times per turn. I guess it just bleed, a lot of bleed. The ring point list is another SP healer, if I recall. If it has the enemy that has bleed. We could take the Blade Linear Salso, which I do like, because it's just guaranteed kills, so we're gonna take that one instead of the bleed. And Gregor, come on, you know what you're doing. I want you to consider the following acidic trauma. If you save up for Walpurgis and you grind your IDs to get what you want, and you save up for Walpurgis, when Walpurgis come around and you do the rolls, one, since you already have most of the IDs you want, you are going to be getting shards to ensure that you can save up Lunacy forever. And if you roll the Walpurgis, there's a chance you're going to get the IDs the same way as well, the normal roll way. So that's how I do it. All right, let's put in some egos and deploy this thing. It's a long stream today, I told you. Wrath, Pride, and Lust, we are about bleed and sinking. You take the basic healing, and fuck you, I don't die, ego. Good. And then for Rhodia, we're going to be taking the Sanguine Desire, Pursuance for healing, and the Tef is really, there's only one choice, it's Rhyme Shank. Alright, that's good enough. Finally, on to whatever the after-urban nightmare. Good luck! It only gets harder from here on out, OG5K. It's not an easy game, but it's a fun game. Alright! Now that we have revealed our IDs, now that we have built a team, let's review the team real quick. Yisang is here mostly to provide extra bleed once we get poise going on. Faust is providing us with defense level down. Defense? No, offense level down on hit. Dawn is providing us with defense level down on hits. Kurokomo Ryoshu is giving us extra bleed. Hook Off Sihonglu is giving us attack power up when we kill someone that has bleed. Kurokumo Clan Wakashu Heatcliff is giving us extra damage against enemies that use block or at full health. Edgar Family Bloodthirst Ishmael is giving us extra damage against enemies with sinking. The Mexican Sinclair is giving us damage. Blade Leader Salsu Otis is giving us more damage against enemies with low health. And G Corp Manager Corporal Gregor is giving us healing on hit, on flash win, so that we can maintain our health. For Grace the Stars, we're going to be taking Favor of the Nebulae, because we don't want to lose, because we're not leveled up. And for our starting gift, we are going to be taking extra damage. We are not going to be taking any starter gifts, even though that is probably a mistake on my part. Maybe. We can take these two. Yeah, there we go. Extra damage, healing, and ego generation. I need to do a stream where I need to do some mirror dungeons on the side to recoup my starlight, but that is it. Well, we can. It's Inquisitors, but we have Blunt, but we are all weak to Pierce, if I recall correctly, right? Yeah, we're weak to Pierce, but fatal to Blunt, so we must avoid the Inquisitors. I guess we can go Outcast and get this thing. Yeah. Alright. Like I promised, we are going to be reading the book In Between Nodes. So, we're gonna read one page, and then go into a fight, one page, go into another fight. And so, let's start reading the book. Now, last time we were reading Enwa, and I'm not gonna start it again from scratch. I think we should, but we're not gonna. I'm just gonna read the first part here, and then we'll proceed to the next node, alright? This is, again, Yisang selected works. There's a lot of his poems. They're very weird. Yisang is a very well-adjusted individual with a healthy family, and no problems with his wife whatsoever, if we're to consider the words on his poem. Anyway. States they have a benefit when staying in the newspaper. Alright. I think I already read this one. Let me try finding another person. So find lethargic and stresses when I was the opening inward. If I do, if I can water, along play. I tried to find where we stopped last time. They're talking about the dogs fucking, yeah. Then this is the kids washing their face. There we go. Let me decrease the zoom by 5%, so it can all fit in the screen. Alright, here we go. I despise how monkeys imitate human beings. What will end up happening to these children imitating me? We must not let these beautiful country children become monkeys. I go back to the creek. The rotting water, the cypress tree, and nothing else. I sit there and look into the puddle of rotting water. In that instant, I see something truly weird. Countless dirty specks arrange themselves and move towards a certain direction. They must be living beings. They must be minnows. Not even in my dreams did I think that these lovely fish might be living in such a corrupted swamp. They move rapidly within the puddle. They must be looking for something to eat. What do they eat to keep living? Bugs, probably. Increase a little bit more. Bugs, probably. But what is this smaller than minnows? They do not stay still. They all seem to have some sort of motive and move in formation. Motive, indeed. Even in the world of minnows, there are urgent goals to be achieved. Eventually, they come out of the puddle and flow downstream like a mass of humanity. What are they planning? No, they may still turn around and come back up the stream again. But for now, it is certain that they are going down the stream. 5 minutes pass. They have gone so far down the stream, I can no longer see them. The puddle is quiet again, just like the rotting puddle I saw before the minnows. I get up, and decide to go to a meadow. There is a cow in the meadow. I'm excited that such a daring scene of minnows was hiding inside a rotten puddle. However, the phenomenon passed away like a sudden shower of rain as soon as I found it. I have no choice but to forget about it and let it go. In the meadow, the cow's horns are no longer its weapons. The cow's horns are now merely one of the ingredients for making rims and temples of eyeglasses. The cow has been raised so that it can be beaten up by humans, thus it needs no weapon. The cow's horns are interesting only to the zoologist. In the days of its undomesticated wildness, the cow used to charge against its enemies with its horns, but now, the cow's present-day horns are an elegy to its former self, like the medals on a wounded soldier. Now we pause here, and then we go to the next fight. This is how we're going to be doing from now on. G4, do you think there's ever going to be another 00 ID? Yes. The director said he doesn't like them, but they're going to become more. Don't worry about it. The only problem is that if you keep releasing only 00 IDs, some are again going to be called spiritually 00, because people can't stop comparing the meta units to the strongest units, to new units that are released to the strongest unit that is currently the meta. And I absolutely despise that. I know, there is a meta, some units are going to be stronger than others, yada yada, and all that good stuff. But I cannot stop but think that if we're going to compare the strongest guy to the strongest guy all the time, and if it's not as strong, it's immediately garbage, I think that is incredibly lame and bad. That's why I do the ID studies, so we can see how they tick. And yes, I'm sure doing the ID study is not helping the case of certain IDs and going the whole, he's kind of a bad ID compared to this other ID. But I do believe that you just should run whatever you want, because sure, I can run a meta team. I literally own every ID and ego. I could build a unbeatable team that can clear anything in the game with minimum issue because they're so overpowered, but that wouldn't be fun for me. So I always think that you should examine the ID in a vacuum without comparing it to others and just have fun with them. There are objectively bad IDs, and we're going to run a few of them soon, but otherwise just, have fun. Not every sinking ID that Rhodia has to be better than Knight of Despair Rhodia. Not every single bleed ID some unit has to be like better than Blood Fiends or better than the current whatever. All right, we already applied all the bleed we needed for the mask, which was 3 times, I believe. No, 5 mold color. Yeah, it's automatic. It goes regardless. All right, he has 3 negatives, so that means our clashable counter is going to happen. Oh, look at that! Look at this effect. That's cool. Look at how it shines. Critique. Very nice. What about She Association Faust? She Association Faust is fine. She can do damage. It's just that her gimmick requires too long to set up. It's a classic case of this line needs an uptie that changes her mechanic a little bit. But otherwise, if you don't use the bow mechanic, she can do damage just fine. She's a fine slash ID. I don't kill these guys. There's not much to do here. Like, sure, if I take the She Association Faust and compare it to her other IDs that are like Mouse, for example, yeah, no shit, the She Association kind of sucks compared to that. But by itself, it's perfectly capable. Heck, I could run a solo with She Association Faust with little to no problem. She has an evade, she has good clashing skills, and she powers herself up quite nicely. The only issue is that her funny little bow can't be rapid fired, and you can't fire and then prepare another arrow right away, which would have fixed the ID in my opinion. Anyway, back to the book. The cow horns are more modest than the bull's horns. These elegiac horns have no business goring me. I lie down in the meadow next to it. I lie down and look at the cow. The cow stops chewing the cud for a moment and looks at me. The cow must be thinking, why is this human's face so pale? I guess he must be sick. I should be careful. He might endanger my life. I insert her the cow must have judged me in this way. But 5 minutes pass and the cows go back to its rumination. I let my mind ease up. I think I am more restful than the cow is right now. The cow is the greatest being of Enwa on the earth. It knows how to stay disinterested. So much so that it does not take joy from its appetite. How sick of the Enwa does one have to be able to throw up the grass they just ate back into their mouth? How sick indeed. To sing as though they take pleasure in that paradox, and chew on the sour and bitter taste of half-digested matter. The bigger the cow, the greater and more sorrowful is its Enwa. I lie in front of the cow, I try to be humble about my loneliness, which is as tiny as a germ compared to the cow's. I let myself thinking in a secret and wonder whether or not I will be able to chew the cud of my contemplation. I see about a half-dozen children playing in the middle of a street. They appear as a gang of half-naked, bronze-skinned and red-haired kids. Their murky countenances, sniveling noses, loincloths, and naked upper bodies make it impossible for me to tell what their sexes are. If they are not girls, are they boys? And if they are not boys, then are they girls? They seem about 5 to 6 years old. These children have chosen the street to have their fun. Right? Next comment, please. Yeah, the cow returns. I'm gonna do a whole nother mirror dungeon for the sake of getting a new ID or ego. Here's the thing, Acidic Trauma. You can end a mirror dungeon earlier and still get rewards. You're not gonna get as much rewards, but you still can get, if you need like a singular card, you can just do up to like floor 3 and still get a box or 2. I am fairly sure. There are some people that speed run dungeons by going only up to floor 4 and quitting, because it gives pretty much the same as would be a full run, full 5 floors. Right. Going back to speaking about IDs, one thing I do not like about modern IDs is that a lot of them, I know, reading and all that, it feels like word vomit when a lot of them are just like, hey, most of these things are automatic. We're just marking them down because no one's gonna keep track of this shit. Stuff like you gain coin power from the sum of sinking and bleed on the target. I certainly do not keep track of like, all right, I gain more coin power if the enemy has sinking and bleed, so I should direct my attacks to the guy that has sinking and bleed, right? I do not keep track of that stuff at all, and I will never will. I tried once, I think during the LCCB team, to keep track of like, this guy has rupture count, so let's attack it with a rupture count applying attack, right? But I found that incredibly boring. Sure, it adds a little bit more depth to the strategies I use to like, let's consider which attack I'm going to use against which character, but most of the shit that happens is automatic. I am an old school player of Library of Ruina. I clash against the enemy. I win, I do damage. The rest is extra. Bleed, rupture, tremor, it's extra. You've seen how I run the Kurokumo clan. I mostly am focused on doing the lust resonance and make sure that whoever I hit is debuffed before I hit them. And other stuff like that. Alright, into the shop and into the book. The children pick up stones. There are no bricks or pieces of porcelain in this area. The villagers do not throw away broken dishes. And then they tear up wild grass. Wild grass. Is this not the most common thing in the area? These children probably think anything green is already boring. But there is nothing else. They are banned from tearing up grain stalks, so wild grass will have to do. They pulverize the grass with their stones. When the stone is dyed green, they throw away both the stone and the grass. They find and bring back fresh grass and fresh stones and repeat what they just did. For about 10 minutes. They keep doing this again and again without saying a word. And within those 10 minutes, Enwa comes for them. Grass is boring and the stones are boring. Is there anything else for them to do? No, nothing. They all rise together. They have no sense of order, and there is nothing around here that they can make something with to satisfy their impulses. They're all standing together because they simply got tired of sitting. They lift their arms and look to the sky. They start yelling at the sky as if they are screaming. Then they jump up and down where they are standing. They jump and scream at the same time. I start weeping as I watch this. How miserable does one have to be to play like this, to try and have fun like this? Fuck off, bot. They don't know how to have fun. Their parents are so poor they cannot even buy toys for these beautiful children. To my eyes, they're jumping and screaming with their arms desperately lifted toward the sky. Do not seem fun at all. Why is the sky so blue today? And why will it be so blue tomorrow? Why are the mountains and the fields so green today? And why will they be so green tomorrow? The children's screams have to be curses thrown at the god who made everything blue and green. Right, shop time. Let's see. Well, we could... Mid-Tenor Rise is only for 4 units. We'll take Lithograph for an additional healing. And we're gonna enhance the Bloody Gadget that we started with. And the Dolly because it's good. We are going to be selling this because we have no need for it right now. And the extra money might be able to afford on our level? No. Alright, off we go to the boss fight. Which is going to be more bugs. Anyway, IDs. A lot of the stuff that gives coin power is automatic. I don't keep track of it because the game system already do a pretty goddamn good job of keeping track of this stuff for you. So when you target someone, and if they have the conditionals to give you extra coin power, the auto calculations for dominating and all that already take that in consideration. So while it is fun to know, it's interesting to know how my character is getting more power, it is also kind of pointless because the game already automatically calculates that for you. If there were no prediction, clash prediction on the top here, this would be a hellish game. Because to know if you're going to be able to clash against the enemy to properly deal damage, you'd have to consider, do he have bleeding? Do he have anything? Yeah, is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. So, yeah. Like, critique him. The only things we do have to watch out for really are what I'm calling the magic numbers, like, oh, if the enemy has 5 types of negative effects, we get to do an extra attack. That is not accounted in some the calculation here, the automatic calculation. For example, I keep notes here on my side. For example, if the enemy has 5 mauled color or Merso is at lower than 50%, his Sestri becomes empowered. For Rhodia, that is a lot of other automatic things that just happen, which is like, oh, the enemy has, I don't know, shit ton of negative effects, so you get to do a bunch more shit. And that's okay, that's fine. But I'm not going to reasonably keep track of every single detail. It's nice to have that information and to understand how the ID works. Having that information in the back of your head there, churning along the gears, helps you understand your favorite ID better, and that's how I run Kurokumo Clan, as well as other of my favorites. But I'm not going to reasonably keep a conscious attention on those automatic little details, like extra damage if the enemy is bleeding, more coin power if the enemy has the Sun of bleeding and sinking. That is already automatically calculated by the game, so you don't have to pay attention to it. Again, it's fun to know, but not necessary. In a certain way, this game is a big horseshoe theory, you know? Because here, if you don't know, horseshoe theory is that sometimes you overthink things when the simplest solution acquired by the dumbest moron of the group will probably be the most correct one. So, for example, if I say, just win rate, bro, it's the same for the highest, like, most experienced would just say, just win rate, bro. Stuff like that. Just make sure you're dominating Clash and that's it. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. I'm over-exaggerating for the sake of comedy here. But yeah, in certain aspects, this game has a horseshoe problem. Horseshoe? No, bell curve. Bell curve. That's what I'm thinking about. I realize I have a cigar here and I haven't started smoking yet. You sense a dangerous glow. I do, and it's that thing about to die. By the way, I haven't activated Herodia's super pass, super powerful attack once. And to activate it, we need to use the special skill, the empowered S3. And for that, we need to use a critique twice, or look out for Palliative Vibrant. No, burst forth once, Palliative Vibrant 3 times, or critique twice. Got it. Oh, yes. All right, let's get our gifts. We are going to take Containing Maggots and Fury Down. Yeah, Fury Down. We already have an ego-generating gift. We don't need Coffin Cranes. Let's see. I am not going to Crabs. You need 5 effect on opponent. Yep, it inflicts Touch Hardy. If the enemy has 6 negative effects on them, we can use our S3 Empowered. And since they apply their own unique versions of effects for Bleed and Sinking, we just need True More to properly activate it. Which, you know, her by itself, without ego gifts, Rhodia can apply a debuff called Touch Hardy and Palette Vibrante, together with the Colors and the Bleed and Sinking. Right, let's read after we get this rock. By the way, I say I'm going to read a page per combat node, not per mystery node, because, I don't know, maybe I should read per node instead of per combat node. Anyway, next part of the book. The children cannot play with the dog, because these dogs don't even know how to bark. The children cannot play with the chicken, because these chicken's eyes have turned red looking for food. The children's fathers and mothers are busy. Their older sisters and brothers are busy. The children have no choice but to be with other children. But what are they supposed to play with? They do not have a single toy, but they have run out of ideas for things to do. This is their misery. Their playtime with stones and grass lasts 5 minutes. If they go any longer, then they will be too tired. Why do these innocents have to be tired? They eventually stop because they are bored of what they're doing. They sit next to one another, they sit and make no sound. What are they doing? I don't know what kind of fun they are trying to have, but it must be something. What kind of extraordinary entertainment have these small humans of Enwa invented? 5 minutes passed and they get up, 1 or 2 at a time, and stand aside. They have each pooped on their spots, and this was their fun. This is their final creative fun when they have nothing left. But among them, one child does not get up for a while. His big poop just won't come out. He must be the ugly loser of this entertainment. I can see in their eyes of other children that they are going to ridicule him. Oh, Creator, give these children toys and some scenery. The day darkens. The nights here are like the deep sea. I feel very weird. I stay still and wonder why and realize that I must be hungry. Why am I hungry? What have I done to get this hungry? A school of minnows was swimming inside a puddle that was corrupting itself. Perhaps there is another school of minnows stirring within my organs that I am aware of. Whatever the reason may be, I have no choice but to eat. Right, moving on to the next combat segment. I am scared of the moment we get to the Honglu book, because there are several of them. Like, shit ton of them. I am kind of scared when you get to that point. Alright, this guy has 4 negative effect, but he's staggered. So, not enough for us to do our thing. And we can't target him directly anyway, so fuck it. This is I prefer focused encounters so much. Yeah, he has a fuck ton of books. And they're not small either. Let me open it up for a moment. Uncle Angela's Electric Book Casino. Honglu, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books, and they are quite long. So yeah, when we get to that book, which I might just change the order of how things are done here, that's going to be a lot of reading and a lot of Chinese stuff. I don't know how I'm gonna read the Odyssey, but damn, I have all the books here ready, so... Anyway, so basically the solution to the hard show problem and everything is just don't put too much stuff in it on certain things. Yeah, something like that. Sometimes the best solution is the simplest one. Like, if a moron can come up with the simplest solution, yeah. The bell curve theory. Let me find it here real quick. Horseshoe bell curve. I confused myself, sorry. Find it here. It's this little thing here that I'm going to show on screen in now. There we go. This little thing here. So this would be the IQ, like, how was it called? Like the most learned person would be over here on the right side, and the most, you know, dumb person would be on the left, and they both reach the same conclusion, while someone that is overthinking is thinking far too much into it and end up, you know, nope, oops, I'm not an expert on it, and I need to understand more of it before I say it, but kind of like that. Sometimes you reach the simplest solution by just going by whatever everyone else is doing. Anyway, next part. As if in accordance with the law of inertia, on the dinner table are laid out pickled garlic, raw soybean paste, and green chilies boiled in soy sauce. When I eat them, each food feels different on my tongue. I have no way to explain why that is. I eat out in the yard, and I can hear those numberless stars clamor above my head. What does that mean? To me, the stars cannot be just a matter of astronomy. I also do not mean that they can be my poetic inspirations. They are in a state of eternal nirvana and have no fragrance or texture. It is a state of being which the absolute ennui cannot attain. Even the stars are so dull. When I finish my dinner, I go out again. Above every rooftop, I can see smoke drifting from little bonfires. Folks are sleeping in their yards, lying on their straw mats. They sleep while watching the stars. The stars, however, do not watch them. I know this because the folks go to sleep immediately when they lie down on their mat. They close their eyes and snore. The stars have nothing to do with them. I walk back and forth on the street to quicken my digestion. Whenever I turn around to go back the way I came from, the number of sleepers increases. See ya, Moises. How are they different from common corpses? They are corpses that I know how to eat and sleep, and I need to stop thinking so discourteously. I should go back and go to sleep. I come back to my room and look around. My life is completely insulated from everything else. My life right now does not even have a trace of suicidal thought. It is the absolute of ennui. It is the ennui itself. And yet, this thing called tomorrow exists. Even on a night like this, which seems as though it will never let the light back in, there is a thing called tomorrow waiting from beyond. Tomorrow is like a brutal local government official. I cannot escape this official. Tomorrow becomes today, and every day I have to suffer boredom. I suffocate and my soul is stifled. So, how did I spend my time today? There is no reason to think about such things. Right, next combat node. So anyway, what is an unfocused encounter and focused encounter difference? Unfocused encounter means you cannot control who the sinners are targeting. And a focused encounter allows you to target directly, and you can mess around with speed and all that. It is the unfocused encounter, which is the one we're going to enter right now. Let's make sure. Yeah, this one, we cannot change our targeting. For example, if I wanted Mersol that is faster to attack this guy here, the number 4, I can't click and drag the attack to him. I have to deal with whatever the game decides the best right now, which is these two guys. Meaning the guys that are faster are going to attack first, despite we being faster than them. It is the bane of the existence of anyone that plays solo and duels. In any case, the bell curve theory here can be exemplified by the classic Doom strategy. So you're facing the cyber demon from Doom, right? What is the strategy to kill them? Someone that knows a lot about the game might say, you have to use explosives and juggle a different attack to do damage and yada yada, aim for the weak spots. While a complete moron would say, shoot it at it until it dies. And someone that knows a lot about the game, a true master, will also say, shoot at it until it dies. It runs the problem of being too reductive, and that's a thing I do several times already. When I'm talking to my friends, and they hate that I do that. But, yeah. Ooh, this boy. Oh, look at that. Remember how I said we don't have to pay attention to certain things in IDs? Remember how the calculation of a skill already takes in consideration if the enemy has sinking or whatever to calculate the extra coin power? The same thing here. Check this out. The skill tree is glowing, means the guy has enough effects to activate the empowered version of a skill tree. So I don't even have to count the amount of negative effects on the enemy. It just happens automatically now. I guess that was a sign of things to come. Because we already got hints on bosses to pay attention to an attack. Now we get this. Interesting. I need to do one more abdo suppression, but I'm now star of the city. You're entering the real game now. Good luck. Now you're entering the real game, boy. Because now you get full access to the passive attribution system. So good luck. This is where the hardest fights in the game are. Alright, moving on. I forgot to read. I'm gonna read right now. Fuck it. No, I need a moment. I need to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back, and then, we'll do the fight, and I'll read 2 pages. I have returned. Hello. Right. So staggered. Interesting. Right. Let's get a critique out. I see Rhodia will benefit a lot from solo runs because she can just slap a bunch of clashable counters and critique everyone. Not yet. Ooh. Forgetting to read is just a part of the will of the city. Hello, Hayaka. I think you have been here before, but I cannot recall. In any case, welcome. Rhodey is staggered. Right, next one, we're going to read 2 pages because we skipped one out of muscle memory. This guy has 4 negative effect, not enough. This guy has 5. Empower my skill tree! Oh wait, not enough? Oh, this is talking to a different guy. It is my first time here, then I bid you welcome. I bid you welcome to this stream where we talk about stuff. And I'm trying to read Yiseng's book right now. We're gonna go now back to the book. Picking up. Let me just put it up. There we go. We're gonna read 2 pages now. Let's just sleep. And while trying to sleep, perhaps, unfortunately, or actually thankfully, I think about what I will do tomorrow. If I wake up again, I will play a few games of chess with Mr. Cho's nephew, and I will try to go and see the minnows again at the puddle. I shall chew the cud of my few remaining memories like the cow, and I will enjoy the endless laziness. A moth flies into my room and the light goes out. I cannot tell if it still lives because it is dark. I am guessing the moth suffered some burns, or else it is dead. But the moth knows how to survive. It knows enough to jump into the fire when it sees it. The moth is passion incarnate. It knows how to search restlessly for the fire. But where is my passion that seeks the fire, and where is the fire that is worthy enough for me to jump into? Nothing. There is nothing for me. My eyes have nothing, so they can only see nothing. Darkness may be filling up my small room, or maybe it is filling up the whole universe. It doesn't matter. I am lying in the middle of it. I have nothing to breathe, nothing to touch, nothing that I want. I have nothing. But I am shuddering because I can sense that tomorrow is here. It is waiting on me like a servant next to my window. Its end is unknown. Are you reading the poems? Yes, we read the poems, but we have skipped a few of them because it was getting a little bit a little bit exotic. And we just finished reading Enwa, and now we're getting into After Sickbed. Right, moving on. After sickbed, he looked at the doctor's face many times. In his mind, he was shouting to himself, "Doctors are people too. They are no different than me." However, he couldn't help but think that the doctor before him was a great magician or a prophet. The doctor let go of his wrist, not moving a muscle. He became immeasurably disappointed. He didn't feel that the doctor had held his hand long enough. Why did the doctor let go already? Why does he ever let go? Was he able to find out what is wrong with my ruined body just from my pose? He kept looking at the doctor as if he were a child looking at his grandfather's face after being yelled at, but the doctor's face was turned toward the door. There was a poster of the 10 symbols of longevity on the door. The doctor then turned again, raised his head, and stared at the ceiling, as if he were deep in thought. Finally, the doctor sighed. He focused on the doctor's tightly closed mouth. It didn't seem like it was going to open, no matter how long he stared at it. Later, he could hear people chatting in the living room, and his doctor's laughter was the loudest. This made him so resentful that he teared up, but he took comfort in the doctor's behavior as a sign that his illness wasn't serious. However, he could not forget the smell of alcohol on the doctor. He wondered, is it possible for doctors to diagnose illness correctly even when they are drunk? He managed to calm himself and trusted his doctor, not against his own will, but because his faith in the doctor was so great. However, when the doctor's loud laughter from the main room reached his ears once again while he lay in his bed, he helplessly thought to himself, "Doctor, you don't take my illness seriously. You merely drunkenly played with my wrist. You acted as if you were indeed thought, as if you were in a magic show. This is how worthless I am." These thoughts turned into steel wires inside his head, and the wires wriggled out through the orifices in his feverish head. He struggled alone. We'll continue here. I already read 2 pages. On to the next fight. That's the wrong thing. Second. There we go. Put that over here. There we go. And back to the dungeon. Let's go to the shop. So yes, there is already a lot of references in Hayaka. If you tune into previous stream, which was a little more disorganized than this one right now, where I'm reading between the nodes, I was reading during combat last time, we see that the part of this text, the Enwa, is probably, and this is my assumption, probably the best, the best description for how the city is, because it is like a mountain village where everyone just forgot how to live. Let's try. Actually, we could leave this because that's an additional negative effect. Yeah, let's leave these for now. Let's enhance the dolly. Actually, no. Yeah, let's increase this one because it is more rupture, and rupture is another negative effect. I've sensed that the ring units will become incredibly powerful once they do Mirror Dungeons Extremes, because holy shit, they do gain a lot of damage from enemy having all the colors of the rainbow in them. Thanks for the welcome, brother. You're welcome, brother. All right, let's get it done. It's the teddy bear. Ready for clash right now. Someone is going to have to eat a few attacks, but that's fine. The attacks are slash. As long as it's not pierce, we are fine. But I do believe he's going to be staggered after this, so I am going to heal. I haven't smoked my cigar yet, despite being on my desk for a while now. Most of the units nowadays are with MD in mind because it's where you use it more. Yeah, the modern IDs are... There's a couple of things that I already don't like about modern IDs. But I already talked about this. I much prefer the older generation IDs where they still had the mindset of Library of Ruina, where they had debuffs aplenty, and you kind of juggle between debuffs and etc. But it's just the direction the game is heading towards, so what can you do? I believe they're making more endgame content because there is nothing else to use our IDs on besides the Mirror Dungeon. Because once you are through the main story, and assuming you are playing as the story is released and not someone that is started right now, rolled Pink Nurse Father Yiseng, Pink Index Nurse Father Yiseng, and they're just blitzing through all the bosses. Once you got through the story content where the difficult content actually is, where else are you going to use the IDs? There's only the Mirror Dungeon. So they're adding more stuff like the Mirror Dungeon Extreme. They're adding the raid boss now, which was going to get its own episode. Probably this Saturday or this Sunday, I am going to do a stream on the afternoon for the raid boss. See how it goes. But yeah. Odin Corporate Billions of Core powered out. Yeah, early like solo runs in this, when I do solo runs here, solo duo runs, I always try to avoid with as much as I can to fight Inquisitors, because despite there being lower levels, the old mentality they had for encounters where the enemies had a lot of debuffs is still incredibly dangerous. And I can say this from experience because my favorite team is the Kurokumo clan, and the Kurokumo clan, while mainly being a bleed team, they have paralyses, coin power down, and it's a lot of more tactical how can you approach the combat. But the modern IDs are mostly just, if the enemy has this, you gain coin power. If the enemy has that, you gain coin power. Satisfy these conditions to do a mega attack. I think there's like maybe 7 IDs with paralysis nowadays. Like, if you imagine, I didn't fight him today, but if you go back to the Guido fight, the first Guido fight we get on Kanto 3, and in the Mirror Dungeon sometimes you can get Guido, that kit that he has with the Inquisitors is fucking insane, because they heal 20 SP per turn. One of the casino guards is 4 coin powered out. Yes, that's what I mean. I much prefer this. Enemy has some sort of like debuff you have to watch out for, rather than here comes the big attack. Oh boy, it's gonna be the big attack. I'm oversimplifying, and sure it's not just that, but I'm looking at through the... I'm not fighting these. Fuck you. This is Suicide. Dipsai as Fox. This is this. The Fox is better. Anyway. Yeah, it was insane to go against in a solo because he literally just, alright everybody, 20 SP for everybody. Alright everybody, paralyze these fools so they can't clash anymore. which is ironically my favorite tactic when I run the Kurokumo. When the enemy is about to use a powerful attack, if either Ryoshu or Honglu rolled faster, they can simply say, "Nuh-uh, you don't get to clash, you only get to be paralyzed." I do much prefer that. Limbus is not a perfect game. It has a great story, but it has a few issues. Namely, I don't like the sanity system at all. If there wasn't any sanity system, it would still be gamble central, but I don't like the sanity system because it is too much of a, what do you call, snowball. That's what I'm looking for. It snowballs really too hard against whoever is winning the more clashes, whoever is winning the gambles. And I have this theory that the sanity system would be much better. Not a theory, sorry. I have this idea that the sanity system would be much better if it was like the sanity system in Darkest Dungeon, which is part of the inspiration for this game as well. If the sanity system was like that of Darkest Dungeon, you wouldn't be having like a sanity effect affecting the odds of you hitting or not. It would be like once you reach a certain threshold, you gain buffs and debuffs, and that would play a little bit more on the panic types. And you could have like the panic type or high morale. What would be the opposite of panic type? High morale, you know. Sinner is on high morale. This particular AD gains these buffs when he is on high morale. But otherwise, all of the coins for everyone is a 50-50. It would make the game be a lot more RNG reliant, but you would be able to counter the RNG problem by having the high morale, high sanity be a very powerful effect you can have. That's just my opinion, though. That I think it would be better. Because you see all these panic types that we rarely see unless you're running a sinking team. You got shit like Leihang that gains more damage but loses power, I think. I've seen there is a lot of TTRPGs. Depends what TTRPG you're thinking about. I GM for a tabletop for Project Moon. And well, everyone in my table does, but I've started the movement for my friends. And it doesn't have it has a sanity system, but it doesn't affect the odds of you hitting or not hitting an enemy. It affects the it's more like a resource. There is syncing on the system and it can tap your resources. But if you're out of light, which is the resource you use to use abilities in the system, you can burn your sanity to use the light that you don't have. Basically brute force it. But if you truly lose all your sanity, then your character goes insane, and then that's another Camp of Worms, where there's panic types, sometimes you just attack everyone around you, etc, etc. But, unfortunately, we're never going to see a change like this, because, like I said, Limbus is not a perfect game. Limbus is not a perfect game. It's never meant to be a perfect game. I'm not going to put them on some golden standard like, oh, this is the perfect game ever. It has certain flaws. Most of them come from the game being a gacha. And at this point, the sanity system is already so entrenched into the whole how it works that it's never going to be changed unless they pull some bold move. Anyway, back to book reading. In between notes. He was still able to hear the doctor declining a glass of wine in the main room. Oh, please stop. I have work. I cannot drink so much. He could also distinguish the doctor's words from a shot glass clattering against something. His mind had not lost its cool completely yet. It was a contradiction. Though he believed his doctor like he believed in God, he did not take his medicine at all. Whenever his nightly drug was warmed up and brought to him, his first thought was always, I don't want it. His frowning brow, already filled with wrinkles, cracked more deeply at the sight of his drug. He looked at his yellow syrupy medicine for a long time. Apparently, it was supposed to cure his chronic illness. He was now an excellent example of chronically ill patient. But it was easier for him to believe in Jesus than to believe that the syrup could fix him. His throat burned, his fever rose higher and higher into the night, and he lost consciousness. Traveling between dream and reality, the right side of his chest boiled. If this boiling in his chest stopped, he thought he could survive. His chest pain, he assumed, was the reason why he lost consciousness. Who on this earth will understand my suffering? Who in the heaven? He felt these ridiculous words forming inside himself. The medicine remained untouched beside him as he slipped into a coma. When he woke sometime later, he could observe large droplets of sweat rolling down his pale yellow skin. His bodily functions stopped. With his eyes barely open, he looked at the clock hanging on his room's wall. When he finally got out of this incapacitation, 10 minutes had passed. But to him, it felt like he was coming back to his body after traveling for many years in foreign land. I wonder if this is the same guy that was before in the village. Alright, next node. It's a Pierce advantage node, but we only deal blunt damage. Fuck! This is the worst possible thing we could have gotten. Holy shit, it's Pequot Town, and they deal Pierce damage. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. This is bad. Your enemy Carla is a single... Hold on. Come here, boy. Ego, come here, Carla. Target has 6 lead coin power +1 for 2 turns, loses speed and has only 1 attack 8. And what about the corrosion for it? No attack weight. Some attack weight. Let's go with Pursuance. We need to stun these guys before they tear us up a new asshole. Because Pequot Town is dangerous. It has always been dangerous. And I don't know why. I think it's because they're negative coins with high rolls. Russian! Oh yes, we gotta harvest some mixed unique materials here. They're a mix of whale. Ow, ow, ow. Stagger. They're not staggered? This is gonna be complicated. Alright, how about critiques? Let's use critiques here. There's still a bunch of attacks unaccounted for, so this is gonna be rough. Alright, so far so good. We can start clashing now. Good. Time to recover our HP. Not enough time, not time yet. My pain is when an eagle come up while pulling an ID. They're good and bad about this. One, it's that it baits you, so you don't think like, oh, I got an ID. And that's the bad. The good is that once you pull an eagle, you cannot get a duplicate of it. Alright. Have one critique that we can use. And we shall. If you use critique twice... Oh wait, no, that's not a critique yet. I noticed something. Rhodium, when she has the conditions to activate her empowered S3, has the little shine on the dashboard. Mercel does not. Again, owing to the fact that he's literally just a 00 ID that was given the 000 moniker for some reason. I remember the reason why the director said he doesn't want to do any more 00 IDs is the fact that it feels bad when you pull it. Oh boy, I don't like gambling, but we shall anyway. And nothing. 1% chance, as per usual. Right? That's 2 pages I gotta read. I'm going to wear your face as a hat. Alright, true. Before we start, let's continue reading. When he picked up the medicine vial, it was as cool as icy water. This is how worthless I am. My drug has gone cold, and no one ever came to tell me to drink it before it cooled. He drank the medicine in despair, but the medicine took away the thirst in his throat. For a while, he was fully conscious. Under weak lamplight, he stared at his friend's painting leaning against the wall of his room. It depicted some troubling dream scenery. Usually, he could not look at the painting for too long, and only at night, because of how blinding it was, but now his senses were numbed. The memories of the last several months made him fall back into a coma. He once again traveled between dream and reality. In that confused state, he let his mind shake and awake. I've always thought that this was my fundamental truth. Though I had been a wretched beggar for a long time, I became a human by casting out my lies to live truthfully. However, that was in fact not my truth. I found out that it was nothing but a ripple within a pathetic bug that lives only in his emotions. I once wrote incredible things about everything around me. It is only natural that I have forgotten what these things were about, or even what kind of form they had. For several months, he had lived in absolute despair. Though it may not make any sense, it would be more fitting to say he died in absolute despair. When the moment came that he had no choice but to collapse onto his sickbed, he felt that naturally death has come for me. However, while he was lying in his bed for a day or two, as he was getting nearer to his biological death, his heart filled with burning hope and ambition. His consciousness recovered. He felt throttled by an energy that he hadn't tasted in a long time, and he was also pestered by it. Though his body became more and more emaciated, he was sure that his body was made of iron. It could never die. On the night he collapsed, before then he was simply lying down all the time, but that was the night he first began to lose consciousness. He had just received a long letter from one of his friends. It was not a well-written letter, but it was transcription of his friend's sorrow. When he finished reading it, he found a kind of terrifying primal energy. While he was reading the letter, a dark cloud had tangled itself in his heart. My mild-mannered friend offers me such truths, but all I have to offer him are my lies. How sad is this? He then lay down on his stomach. His mind began to feel the pain that his body had been suffering. He could not bear it anymore. He took out some newspapers that had been stuck in between his other writings and began to write. Yes, I have lived deceitfully, and then I experienced a terrifying disturbance. I thought my lies were my foundation. I was a wretched beggar. I cast away my lies and resolved to live truly as a human being. I believed this. However, that was not my foundation either. I found out that it was nothing but an internal ripple within a pathetic bug who had lived only in his emotions. I realized that I could not help but live within the lie I had been living, for myself and for how I have interacted with everything around me until now, so on and so forth. While he laid down these sentences, he remembered how he had written a few verses of poetry as well, and his pen glided onto the paper warily. His consciousness got fuzzier, more dreamlike. He had no way of knowing now when and where he dropped his pen, and that what the last thing he was writing was. The only thing he knew when he woke up again is that he lost consciousness while he was holding his pen. A few days after the doctor's visit, after his anger toward the doctor had subsided, his consciousness began to have more moments of clarity, and he became human, burning with unknowable, baseless hope. If I can just rise, he believed that he could pull Dante's Divine Comedy and Da Vinci's Mona Lisa right out of his mind effortlessly. He believed that he could not accomplish that feat because his body was still too weak. He took out his friend's long letter again and read it, and rather than a dark cloud, he could feel strong, boundless camaraderie within his friend. His eyes finally reached the words, "Mr. XX, hope you'll see the bright light one day." Without realizing it, he started to cry out. "Oh yes, I am seeing the bright light right now." Interesting mention of Dante's Divine Comedy there. I have barely any egos, so pulling one is heavenly. Yeah, my god, do not shine anything in your eyes, something I learned from his book. Oh no, the book for Merso makes me angry about the French. I think I mentioned this a few times already, but I fucking despise how angry that book made me feel, man. Oh yeah, he's probably gonna die. I mean, you just haven't reached that part yet. But anyway, it's funny because the son here in the Limbus company is gonna be Carmen. So I'm very excited for his canto. It's gonna be good. All right, we have That's a lot of negative effects. I think we can activate our special. Another thing that I'm noticing here is that it doesn't matter where the negative effects are, as long as the enemy has, it doesn't have to be any specific part. Yoink! Are both Mersault and Rhodia docent? Negative. Mersault is a student. Alright, we got 3 criticals now. On to the next page, please. Oh, it's already been 2.5 hours? Holy shit, this is taking a long time. I know it was going to take a long time, but holy hell. Sad story. I have not been back here for a long time. Who told me to come here? I don't know, much has changed. The elegance of the bridge here that I used to sketch is still palpable in the evening gloom. A small stream of water flows gently underneath its arch. The hills on both sides of the stream are well worn. Waters have pulled inside their crevices, like little ponds. The small rocks are like islands floating on the stream. They are spread out like simple furniture. If you follow the stream upwards, there is a wooden bridge where my friend and I took our graduation photo. The friends I knew then have all gone to live their separate lives, and I have no way of knowing where they are or how they are doing. I do not go any further up. Instead, I sit on a tree trunk short enough to be a stool and consider the water. I wonder if the twilight might come into the water where I see the reflections of a leafless tree and the utility pole. The water flows over these reflections without hesitation. I do not touch the scenery in the water while it lies there. There is no wind this evening. The lamp of the utility pole lights up inside the reflection as if to tell me that night is coming. I turn around to see the actual pole rising above me. Its light comes into my eyes immediately. The pole might have drunk from a bottle of white liquor while I wasn't looking at it. Perhaps the night is really coming. The air is cold within the warm sleeves of my winter coat. My hands hold each other tightly and start sweating. My mind wanders the empty air, or perhaps it is sinking down into the water. Some of my limbs get lazy and forget to love. My hair, messy inside my hat, does not make any noise. I feel pity for my body's extremities. They depend on my pathetic head to survive. If my body is a land, then it is a barren waste, and there is no strength left in my eyes, and my ears are filled with dust. Nothing can grow there. Sound still comes out of my throat, but it's like the sound of an old harmonium. Moving on. We are at floor 3. It has been 2.5 hours. I know for 1 hour at least I was just yapping. And we were also farming XP for leveling up these IDs so we can properly have them to go. That's why he doesn't shine. I mean the shine thing more like... It seems like Limbus is going towards more telling the players when something is ready to roll. Because he has a conditional on his skill tree that if the enemy has X amount of negative effect, all become unbreakable coins. Similar to Rhodia on her skill tree, if the enemy has 6 negative effects, she gets to use the empowered version. And when that condition is met, there's a little shine on the icon. However, that does not apply to Mersault. Even though, yes, he's just a student, I'd rather, if they're gonna do like, okay, the unit has a conditional, the conditional has been met, here's a little marker to tell you that it's ready. I kind of wanted to apply to everyone, you know? Can you use your shiny here? No, not yet. Kill it. Let's avoid taking unnecessary damage. Because I guess they're understanding that the whole meme about Limbus company players do not read a little too seriously, so they're adding hints to bosses. When an attack is dangerous, they put a little marker on it like, hey, this attack is very dangerous, and stuff like that. I am neutral towards this. I guess more information is cool, but I'd rather they didn't. You know? For example, all right, let's take a look here. Skill tree. On hit with the additional coin, hold on. If at less than 50% HP, or if the target has 5 mold color, use 3 coin, coin tree an additional time and convert all coins to unbreakable. So the target has to have 5 color, and yeah, if the target... I never checked it out, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't give us the shiny. The hint was actually asked by the community. Well, I don't remember that, honestly, but... The only thing I do remember that, like, the community, they made with the community, and I still think about it this day because I really like Leihang, is the fact that they made... When Leihang came out, everyone was getting filtered because he's a decent boss fight. He was a decent boss fight. I loved him. That was fun to play against him. I wish I could have played more. I played when he was unnerfed, so it was fun. Hold on. Critique, and critique. No critique here. Anyway, what was it? I loved his fight because it was fun as hell. I don't have much more to say about that. It was just a fun fight. I managed to beat him with the Kurokumo clan, probably on my first try. We're talking about Leihang, and then he got hit with a gigantic nerf bat. But he only got hit with a gigantic nerf bat after the director played it, streamed himself playing it, and he was using meta units like Mouse. And some people that watched that were struggling with him saw the director struggling by using top tier IDs, and they, like, you know, took a double back, tried again, and they eventually succeeded. So, but still, the nerf came, and after the nerf, there was a public poll saying, hey, we nerfed him, but do you think we may have overdone the nerf? Do you think we need, like, to empower him a little bit more or revert the nerf altogether? Tell your opinion. And I also gave my opinion. I was there, so, you know. And the majority of players that took the poll said, revert him to how he was before. Yeah, the director won 3 times, so reverse him how he was before. Yeah, but in the previous tries, he didn't do so well, so... In any case. He thought it was okay, but I still did nerf. Yeah, they did the poll, asked if they should, you know, bring back the way he was. Most people said yes, but it didn't happen, so... Now Leihang is pathetically easy. We're getting babied, and I believe that Limbus needs to story lock certain ideas past the point of game. I agree with you, OG5K, but that will never happen. And this will never happen for the sole reason that this game is a gacha game. You are playing Library of Ruina right now, correct? You do not get access to the end game units until you are at the end game. Sure, you could go back and fight the previous bosses with the end game units, but you did not get them from a gacha. Because Limbus Company is a gacha, it would be insane to limit the players who have rolled with real money to get, or real money, or just charted like myself. Sorry. It would be insane to limit a player who has rolled for this ID or whatever and use money to do that. All right, here's the ID from the latest chapter, but you can't use it until you reach the latest chapter. That would you just feel cheated out of your money. So that is never going to happen. The same way that they have to be very, very careful when balancing an ID, because otherwise we get another mouse situation. If they release the ID, it has to be balanced. They can't do backseats after. Once it's out, there's no backseats. Continue the reading of Sad Story. My nose is filthy. Its nostrils have been replastered a number of times. For nearly 20 years, these limbs have trusted my head and have followed its cruel lead, while the head itself, ignoring their profound loyalty, is now trying to be ruined. The family of the body, hands, noses, ears, feet, waist, calves, neck, and others, must have figured out what their master is planning to do. They stand aside, look at one another worriedly, but still depend on one another, and wait for the inevitable. Meanwhile, the night gets darker. The stars gather one by one. They are greeting one another. Good evening, where do you come from? And stories begin to sprout among them. There is a star smoking a fancy cigarette. Another star cleans his glasses with a handkerchief. There are also stars taking a commemorative picture together. I'm no longer looking up. Instead, I gaze into this party hall of stars by looking at its reflection on the water. The time is near. Tonight's program is filled with a variety of entertainments. I hear the golden button footmen going around and closing the windows of the hall. The party hall suddenly grows dark, and every star's face is full of life. Their lips shake with excitement, and some of them smile meaningfully at one another, blinking their eyes. Andromeda, Orion, they all take their seats. One of them even takes out their cigarettes and lights it. Suddenly, someone hurriedly comes in from the back of the hall. All the stars tilt their heads in unison towards the noise. Their troubled hearts perform acrobatics, and their breathless show hides their light. Deepening and darkening their party, the receding night sky. What is going on? Someone says. Then a deep and soft voice is heard from beyond the wide skies and says the following liquid words like music. Everyone, a messenger had come to tell you to return here early. This evening. Pausing here. Now we can have harder bosses, the animated continue button. Yeah, that's a good call, honestly. Those are good points, but I still hope they will do that towards the end of the game. Like, unlikely. Unless they pull something like Limbus is supposed to see OG5K. I didn't realize they were going to. So unless they pull something like once Limbus reaches a like conclusion, like, all right, we've done all 10 years of Limbus. There's no more content. It's over. No more Limbus. We've done everything we could here. We want to move on to another whatever. Unless they pull something like, all right, since we don't want to leave you hanging, we are going to allow the game to be played like single player. You can just download it and run it. There is no more gacha, just shards. We lower the shard or whatever. They do something cool like that, you know? You can just get to keep playing the game. Then in that version, they could limit like what IDs you could use, but as long as it is a gacha game, a live service game, it will never have an ID lock. We might be limited to use certain IDs, certain characters in some nodes of the story because that matches, but we will never get something like, you can't use the ID until you get to this part of the mission. No. Right, let's see where we're gonna clash first. We got a bunch of... We gotta avoid the pierce skill as much as possible. I trust you, Rhodia. It's gonna be a little rough, but I trust you. A lot of the problems that stem from Limbus, balancing, mechanics, IDs, stem from the fact that it is a gacha game. This is a necessary evil that the director pretty much had to accept, because otherwise, you know, the game wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have been funded, because it made money, it made good money, it is still making good money. We are resistant to blunt, so I'm not scared of these bots too much. So let's just keep bashing him. But at the end of the day, as long as the story, the music, the aesthetics, and the interesting lore keeps being good, I will willingly embrace this game for as long as it exists. Even if the combat gets a little silly, even if certain things I do not appreciate for combat and how things are being performed nowadays, I will still like this game. I have a long story with Project Moon. Since I got exposed to the video for Lobotomy Corporation, I pirated it and then said, hey, this is a pretty good game, I'm gonna play it later. And then I subsequently waited a few years until I actually bought Lobotomy Corporation to finish it. I have a long story with it. The story of the game has helped me a lot in real life, especially during my mid-20s, where I was very, very, very depressed to the point of almost doing something incredibly foolish. But then I played through Library of Ruina, I saw the story of Nietzsche, and that helped me up a lot. All right, now that this guy is properly painted, we are going to rip you asunder. Twice. No, make it thrice. Rip him apart, Rhodia. Oh, this is gonna be good to watch. One more time. Ah. Very good. And now you aura farm by putting your fursuit. I'm glad that the lore of the Fauvists pretty much confirmed that the fursuit is like you graft onto yourself, you just pull something and it connects to you. That's pretty nice. All right, let's get to the next floor and fast because we're approaching 3 hours and I have to work early tomorrow. We got here for the sun shower. Let's see if we can get a long fight. Again, changing, use my flesh. No long fights here. What a shame. Let's go, Miracle. Go up here. But before we progress, book. The stars all stand up at once. A black velour hat looks great on one of the stars, and a Western-style cloak fits magnificently on the shoulders of another star. Their animal heels on the soft carpeting of the hall makes grating, twisting noises. The stars scatter as they walk out. The hall is now nearly empty, and a few lamps are still on, but an old night shift janitor comes in and turns off the remaining light. Within minutes, all the lights are out, and only the spit-out chewing gun and peeled-up caramel wrappers remain, scattered on the stifling dark sky. What happened? Perhaps there was a death at the royal palace. I crossed my arms and massaged my cowpox vaccination scar near the shoulder of my arm. Yeah, I got one of those too. My father only has 7 fingers. He lost 3 fingers while working at a printing press on the royal court. My mother does not know her birthday, nor her name. She never had a family of her own. I'm quite jealous of anyone who has in-laws, but my father is not jealous of any man who has a mother-in-law. I have never given my parents money. I have never bought them candy. I have never bowed to them. When they gifted me a pair of unoiled shoes, I wore them and went to an alley they know nothing about and ruined those shoes. When they paid for my school's monthly tuition, I specifically studied words they could never read. Yet my parents never once scolded me. After I stopped sucking on my mother's tits, I left them for 23 years, and when I came back, they were still poor. When I returned, my mother took out my worn cloth belt and folded it. My father put a nail on the wall on their tiny house so I could hang my coat and hat. My younger siblings had all grown up, and my little sister was now a young woman. But I still do not know how to make money. How do you make money? I don't know how. I don't know. My friends are all gone too. I have no adults in my life. I don't have any manners, and not a man of perseverance. My hands caress my cheek. They are as cold as a stranger's hand. My hands seem to say, "What are you thinking about so deeply? When you become so thin?" My hands must have realized that my head has decided on ruin. Right, moving on. Yeah, already reinforcing the fact that Yi Sang is a very well-adjusted adult in society. Actual real Yi Sang, because his poems before were also talking about how he hated his family with degree. So these guys have blunt and we are resistant to blunt. We only have to watch out for lust and gluttony and gloom and envy. So let's clash the greens so we don't get destroyed. I wonder if the part of this book here referencing the head is bent on destruction has something to do with the setting as well. Because here in the book they're talking about like the head, all the other limbs of the body depends on the head, but the head is bent on ruin. They kind of look at each other like saying, hey, things are bad, what are we going to do about it? And they all collectively decide to do nothing. Or maybe I'm looking too much into things here. I doubt the inspiration for everything in the setting comes from Yi Sang, but it's undeniably one of the main factors for the entire setting is Yi Sang's works. This is why we'll continue reading it, despite the poems being kind of gobbledygook, because poems are weird. And I am not apologizing on my sense about poems. Poems are weird as hell. I do not appreciate poems that much. They're fine, but it's the type of thing that if you don't vibe with the poem, you are not going to understand it. Alright. Rodion, do you think you're ready to use your critique on these fools? You are. And you are ready to tear that one a new asshole too. How about this guy? Can you do the same to him? Yes, you can. And which one has 5 colors? No one yet. I see that Merso is more of a focus fighter here. I like this point, but I don't think he has direct reference to the city system. Yeah, the city uses a bird analogy, but I'm thinking about more like Yisang's work clearly is one of the most influential ones on the setting, so I don't think it's far-fetched to look into that. Because if you haven't read it, Heiak, I recommend go read Enwa. It's written like this. And tell me that is not a perfect description for how the city is. I already read it. I read it on the previous stream and finished it today. So if you tune in the previous stream, you also can hear it there. But it's pretty much like how the city is described. Everyone is living on this state of Enwa. Enwa, whatever. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not literate. I am becoming more literate, though. That's the whole point. And again, I am really, really scared to get into Hong Lu's books. I might leave that one as the final one because holy shit, that is a lot of books. Jesus Christ, it's already been 3 hours. I don't stream for that long. I don't have a way to post the link for the books unless I make a drive or find the drive where I got the books from. But it should be easy enough to find. You could probably find it on Gutenberg. Projectgutenberg.org has books there. They're free, I think. I haven't checked the site out myself. Someone recommended it to me. Unnecessary damage. By the way, I don't know if this Saturday or this Sunday I'm going to make an afternoon stream where we're going to be doing the raid boss. I am going to Gutenberg, Project Gutenberg. Let me see if I can find the link real quickly for you. There you go. Now, I don't know if it's going to be there. I haven't checked, but probably will. Or you can find it somewhere online as well, so it shouldn't be a problem. All right, let's get back to the next page. There we go. Others' usual constellations follow, all useless. Nothing will come of them. My mind has already thrown out my stories in secret. They were my final property. A small bag of medicine and a small bowl of water are all that remain. One day or one night, when the rest of you are in deep slumber, I will ruin myself just a little bit. That is the only thought I have written down. I will not tell my mother, nor my father. I will not call my friends. I will be ruined like an orphan. Hilariously, it begins to rain. The gentle ripples on the water are dizzying. The raindrops make no sound, like rubber shoots. They are quieter than tears. The air gets cold. I see a magpie, and I wonder if its nest will be able to repel this invasive rain. Times have gotten tough for the magpies. They have nearly disappeared from Seoul. On a long rainy night like this, a vast number of people must be crying. An unusually bright light pours out of the window of a Western-style house across the way from me. But someone else inside closes the window immediately. A warm room is closing its eyes to have some idle fun. Let it have its fun. However, this spot is so cold and the rain gets heavier. The rain comes. The rain is coming. Once the rain stops, the day will get suddenly very cold. My worries about the season make me anxious, which in turn makes me long for people. My lady has been standing right next to me, and she hasn't said a word. She is like a mute. I look at her face closely, and it is white and delicate. In that dark night, she is clear and clean like a pocket watch. She must have danced a while under the moonlight a long time ago. But there is no spot that I can kiss on her face. For any spot on a face to be kissable, it must be a small, vacant space that serves no purpose. However, on my lover's face, there is not a single empty space. I am in the process of placing this lady quietly inside my heart. She makes no sound, even when her mechanical spring is completely wound up. When my emptied head is ruined, I will do so while I am choking on this Simone of mine. This lady is the lost title of my mind, and she is the nail on which I hang my mind before I throw it out. Every other limb stays silent about my head's vanity. Lover, I will not place a finger on your body. Let us die. Is this going to be a double platonic suicide? No. This is going to be two separate suicides. I take out my notebook and open it. Today is November 16th and December 1st is 2 Sundays from now. In 2 weeks, then yes, truly. On to the next fight. Otherwise, they're going to be here forever. I already expect the streams to balloon in size because of the reading, but today is especially long because I had to grind XP for these 2 characters. Alright, I'm focus encounter. There is not much I can do here, so let's just rock and roll. Anyway, I am loving reading this stuff because a lot of it is me schizoing out about certain things that I've seen. Hold on, where is it? Where did I put it? On one of the poems for Yiseng, there was this quote: "The fingerprints on the mirror's glass lay siege to the clock's needles. They must be revived to air out the tragic scholar's warnings." Now, this is 100% me being a schizo, but god damn it, doesn't match Limbus Company in some degree. The fingerprints might as well be the fingers. We already have the ring messing around with the mirror stuff. The clock's hand is, again, Dante. And if we looked far too much into it as well, they must be revived, being the sinners. And the tragic scholar is Virgilius. Virgilius is an author after all. He did write a couple of books. He's a poet as well. And his story is quite tragic. But then again, this is 100% me being a schizo. All right, Rhodia, rock it. Very nice. Now put on that fursuit. Good job. And it is literally a fursuit because as we see today, the uptype for Merso pretty much says that once they put on the mask and it activates, like injects something into them, and then it tightens around their body and they can use it like their own body. So this is literally a school of fursuiters, which still somehow looks better than most fursuits I have seen in my life. Nice job. You tore that gnome apart. Impasta. Let's see. You can do a critique here. No, you can't. You are currently pondering. Very nice. I still can jam to the Christmas music because it's so good. Also, one thing I want to add, you might have noticed that under my TV here, there's a little empty space. That's where when someone subscribe or follow on Twitch, it will show a little warning there. But I wanted to put something in there, and I've been cooking up this, which is like a slideshow of shitty ads. I'm gonna make a bunch of shitty ads on Krita to put it there. To become like literally I'm gonna make K-Corp ads, everything from Limbus ads there is gonna be placed there for fun. I just gotta make them. But for now, it's a work in progress. Because it's just cycling through the Welchers ad, the original ad that Welchers is based off, and Limbus Company logo. Alright, let's get the mystery pack first. Give me your shit. I don't care. Give me your hands. They're mine now. Give me your shit. Give me your phone. Right, that's 2 pages I gotta read, so let's get into it. So let me add book reading window. There we go. In 2 weeks then. Yes, truly. The lady's face is as white as a paper window. A crack appears on it, through which she laughs. The lady writes her pledge on my notebook. Her words look like a musical notations. She signs it with the print of her thumb. We will die together. There won't be any mistake. Yes, I am so thankful. I can hear the song I love the most in my mind. and I begin to whistle. I decide to forget about all the things I'm sorry about in the world, and I wave my clean handkerchief like a white flag to commemorate my defeat. Where are those cars going in this rain? Yes. Beyond the hill there is the market of the Holy Mother. I hear there is something priced for 1 won, and now I want to burn it all down. Why? The cars splash water on their headlights and swarm over the hill. On a night like tonight, when the air is humid, I need to powder myself a little bit more and use a stronger fragrance. It is very humid. The rain rains down even heavier than before. My coat is thoroughly wet, and now my pants are getting wet too. No one is looking, there is nothing to be ashamed about. If I meet anyone, then I will be ashamed for them. However, they will not know why I am ashamed. The demon who lives inside me is tiny. He looks like someone who has struggled all his life. He weighs next to nothing. The demon is back after having won a great fortune. He takes off his gloves and briefly looks at his gaunt but cheerful face in the mirror. Afterwards, he paints scenery on a clean canvas. He only uses one color. It is this scene of a port I once visited. The day is grey there. The food there is not good. A young man puts a letter into a mailbox, while a young woman stands by his side. The darkness swells with the waves. I worry about the code. Red rain splashing into the mailbox and wetting all the letters within. The young man smacks his lips and walks towards the pier together with a woman. What time is it? 4 o'clock? The sun busily descends westward, and the dreary wind blows with the scent of the rising tide in its embrace. Give me 5 packs of cigarettes and a chocolate for 50 John. Dear, look at this. It's like a spoon without any empty space inside of it. Farewell. The alleyway is long, and skins of tangerines are scattered throughout its paved path. Then the tooting of a horn. It is the sound of a steam whistle from the pier. This tooting must be painted with light purple. Let's go to the pier. Ah, they have a buzz here too. Today the flags on top of the ship masts are in commotion, gasping for breath. The young man unbuttons the second button of his shirt. Are you not worried someone might assassinate you? The harbor's water is as dark as Marujenk ink. A block of wood floats on the water. From which part of me did that one come out? Ah, a seagull is flying. The seagull is wearing raggedy clothes today. The path in the air must also be thick with clouds today. Here, let's get on. The side of the ship is dark and lots of oysters are attached to it. Anyway, let's get on now. It must be time. More tooting of the horn. We must be leaving. I am going to lie down for a bit. I will too. I have to look out through a round porthole window. The lights have come out on the port. I touch the forehead of my lover. It is warm. It is boiling. What can be done? Please don't. I light up a cigarette. I smoke one, and then I smoke 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5. Hello, Ryoshu. I end up trying to smoke 50 cigarettes, and during this time, one must make the choice. Dear, while I'm doing this, why don't you have a chocolate? The lights come on inside the cabins of the ship. Everyone must be tired. 40, 41 cigarettes. Soon enough, I smoke 500 cigarettes. How my tongue aches. The early evening staggers. Dear, look at all these rows of cigarette stumps. There are 49 now. Wake up. Let's go up to the deck. The woman quietly stands up, but she says nothing. It is cloudy. The sea is dark without the stars. And if it has shut its doors, my lover's skirt flutters in the salty wind. I light up the remaining cigarette, and while it's burning away, I make my final decision. It is getting kind of confusing. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of lost track there, but let's keep going. You're weak to Pierce, right? Yeah. We have but one Pierce attack and it's only Mersos. What a shame. Let's hit you with the blue then. I'm back and all I heard my pants wet, already questioning what the fuck happened. Well, I am too. I don't know what the hell Yi-Sang is yapping about this time, but he's certainly talking about something. At the beginning, it sounded like something, you know, you can kind of keep up with this. There's a man sitting on the bench. He was looking at the stars, and he was probably having a hallucination or two, looking at things very poetically, very in a very ludic way. Ludic? No, that's a different word. Anyway, in a very poetic way, very artistic way. And then now he wants to do a double suicide with someone. I am guessing that woman he's talking about is not even real. It's probably like the manifestation of death, if I'm going to be look too much into it. And so he's wandering around with death because he's apparently racing away. A lot of the poems, a lot of the stuff that he writes about how sickly he is. I wonder if that was a recurring theme when he sang The Author, where he was very sick all the time. You know what? I'm looking at the stream right now, and I'm seeing the ads under here, the fake ads, and I love it. I want more ads. I'm gonna make shitty ads on my spare time, and I'm gonna put it there for all the companies of the game. I also need to get some ads from another game I want to stream in the future on Fridays called Syndicate Black Ops, which are shitty ads as well. That's gonna be a beautiful shitpost window, I can already tell. I'm gonna disable it for now, but in the future, look forward to it. It's gonna be fun. Impasta. All right, can you critique then? Power counter, power counter, power counter, and that one is not doing anything, so whatever. So, assuming that each floor of the mirror dungeon has like 5 nodes, we're going to be reading 5 pages per floor, approximately. So that is 25 pages per mirror dungeon, assuming we don't get like a long pack. I think that's pretty good. It will pad out a lot of the books, and dear God, for Honglu, we're going to have to hurry to pick up the pace, but I don't know. I wanted to give it a little bit more structure for the streams, for the reading, because at the same point, I want, you know, you're looking how the IDs work and all that. But if we don't give the proper respect to the book and to the combat, you're gonna sacrifice the quality of both. In the previous stream, I was reading during combat, and that led me to play too much on the automatic and made some poor decisions here and there, where I could have done better. But at the same point time, I was reading pretty well, keeping up the pace with the reading, mostly the poems. So I don't know if which one's more optimal, reading in between the nodes or and paying attention during the combat and talking to the audience as well. I guess that one works better because there's a bit more of dialogue going on here than just me sitting reading a book to you guys. But at the same time, I think it might sacrifice the quality of how much of the book I can read. And without a doubt, this is going to inflate the time of the stream. I don't want to keep the streams too long because I work in the morning. And right now is 11 p.m. for me. But I also want to finish the dungeon. So there are many things to take into consideration. Maybe I'll start the streams a little bit earlier. That is a possibility. To compensate for the extended time. I don't know how many people will affect because I chose specifically 20 o'clock my time because it gives me a nice little... I'm gonna do like a dungeon, maybe 2 hours, and then 2 more hours for me to prepare to sleep and all that. Let's take the spike because it's good. We're gonna be taking the pen of nostalgia to gain poise. We haven't got poise yet because, well, I got this for poise, I guess. I guess I also got the talisman. Let's fuse for bleed real quick. Oh, look at that. We got the full critical gift that we can't use because we don't have poise. So we sacrifice these 2. And I guess we no longer need the Zippo lighter, so... Bleed. Rusted bleeding, yes. Let's see what else. This is good to keep. This is okay-ish. Just give us charge barrier. I no longer need the eagle devices. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Let's enhance the talisman for more rupture application. The more shit we throw at our enemies, the better. The more we spit status ailments, the better. So let's keep it going. I can't upgrade that one. Good enough for me. Let me read another page before we continue. So, book reading window. Dear, are you not sad? The woman shakes her head. It is now all burned. Close the door. The sound we make jumping off the ship is smooth. Then there is the sound of a struggle, pushing against the suffocating darkness of the night. Finally, the loud sound of the sea breaking. Goodbye. The demon slowly signs his name on the corner of this painting. 2 weeks pass by helplessly, and the holiday finally arrives. I am walking with the lady by the sandy shores of a river. I cough, and cough, and I am down with a sudden cold. The wind mercilessly blows on the river against its stream. My pockets filled with my worry. The lady seems much shorter than usual. She has no vitality. I knew this was going to happen. You are too young. My worrying grows next to such a young body. The promised day continues to be pushed back. Merchant vessels follow one another as they go up the river. Their sails are full of all the wind they've eaten. Why don't you sing a song? The sky is cold and the ground is wet. The woman's weight is lighter than a snack. I turn around and barely manage to light up a cigarette and breathe as well as I can. I cough again. Let's go over there. There's a wall of trees planted there to act as a windbreak. And amidst them is a railroad. Not a single magpie lives there, and the leaves have fallen so much. There is no other place as desolate as this. I walk arm in arm with a lady, stepping on muddy, slushy leaves. We walk east, a train passes us by, transporting gravel, and it whistles. We stand there and witness the scenery that looks like it came straight out of a children's fairy tale. Occasionally a path appears out of the fallen leaves, but we never meet anyone else. As far as I can tell, we are in desolation, which exists beyond the border of humanity. I massage the woman's low shoulders and pronounce softly into her rose-like ear. Let's go home. No, I have left my home forever today. Let's wait 5 more days. I will wait, but do you have to die? Of course. Let's say you're dead. Why don't you let me borrow that soul of yours? I can't. Even if I promise to die anytime as the security? No. How can this be? I'll continue this on the next node, sorry. So, again, I do believe that he's talking to either a demon or death, a personification of death, and this is like severe... Well, it's pretty clear that he's attempting suicide several times here now. He threw himself into the ocean and all that. It's a sad story. That's the type. That's literally the title of the story. It's a sad story. A recurring theme of Yi Seng's work is depression, being sad. We saw that on The Wings, which was... Again, The Wings were kind of pathetic, honestly. It lost all respect for Yi Seng, the character there. Not the book writer. But thankfully, Yi Seng on the setting here is much, much better. Living a much better life, too. Because in the setting of the city, Yi Seng actually accomplished something. Yi Seng from The Wings didn't accomplish jack and shit. But Yi Seng from Limbus Company is a mixture of all the poems, all of the characters, the actual author, and some other stuff as well. Nothing there like the Abno. Hello, Corn Muncher. It's been a while. Corn Muncher is funnier. Been a while. Hello. Impasta. Tiny. Man, I have bought this cigar like 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks, 1 week ago, and I forgot about it, and I was craving it for a while, and it's hitting like a glove. I don't recommend smoking. This is something I picked up because I am not immune to propaganda. Do not smoke, but goddamn, it helps. It helps with stress, it helps with everything. It is a crutch, and I limit myself to only 1 a week. Maybe 1 more if is there a reason to commemorate, but don't smoke. It's bad. Do as I say, don't do as I do. This is peak teacher here. Do as I say, but don't do as I do. It is not shiny, so we do not use it. Similar to other IDs that require enemies to have a lot of effects or some sort of charge, like the Blood Fiends. I feel that to get the most out of the ring IDs, the Fauvists, you are going to be teasing your skill tree. You're going to be edging that skill tree until you get the conditions to power them up. And it doesn't help because if you kill the enemies, you don't get to use your ability, your cool ass ability. And we can only use critique if the enemy has several status effects, and we can only use the empowered S3 if the enemy has several status effects. So when a new wave comes in and you haven't triggered your furry mask for Rhodia, it's going to take a while until you can get activated. And we are killing them before we can actually use our powerful attack. I'm probably gonna take a long pack on the next floor because I need to stop the stream because I need to go to sleep to prepare for work tomorrow. Even though it's Friday after a extended holiday, most of my students have been skipping class because fuck my time, I guess. All right, we're furried up. Let's save this for Santa. Santa's in for a big surprise. Nice job. Oh, there was no Santa on this one? Okay. This was the boss, right? I guess it's on the Bokgek. Tomorrow, I am going to do an achievement on stream. We are going to beat the Bokgek Santa Christmas event with only Dawn and only Heathcliff. So that's going to be the thing for tomorrow. Damage taken, offense level. I don't care about the rest of this. We're at the end. We're going to get the long pack now. Don't care which one, even if I have to pack search for it. Yeah, we're pack searching. Let's see. Let's take Jesus. He comes to save me. Right, let's get to the store, read 2 pages, and call it a day. Give me that. It's garbage, but I'll take it. It's good for selling. Yeah, gimme, faster. Gotta go. Oh, I'm gonna put Sinclair in the machine again. Dante, Sinclair, go into the machine. Get your brain scooped out. Good job, boy. Thank you for the painkiller. You are not going to use it. All right, let's read 2 more pages of the sad story and then move on. How can this be? I take out a letter from my pocket and rip its pages apart on the spot. I had written the letter to my dearest friend. It said, "When you receive this, me and my love will no longer be of this world. But what of it? I have no courage to take my own life. The only thing I own. I have not cultivated myself enough. Still, I will try to do my best." Suddenly, black and white ribbons one wears at funerals are all over this deep forest, where no magpies visit. The late lady's face turned pale. Oh, no, that was the end. Okay. Right. I guess we're gonna stop here. I don't want to start a story and then continue on the next session. So the next one will be a letter to my sister at page 103. So let's just finish today's dungeon. It has been an extra long session today, and well, you know how I feel about extra long sessions. I have stuff that I need to do in real life, so it's unideal for me to stay up this long. So let's get our basic damage up combo here real quick. Give me a keyword refresh for charge. See if I can get wrist guards. Perfect. GeForce favorite extra damage combo. Wrist guards and UPS system. Fully upgraded. Sell these. We don't gain points for self skills. And try to enhance the max. There we go. And fuck it. Upgrade this. So the enemy has tremor, and there's it. All right, let's finish this, boy. Hello there, Gregor. I mean, Jesus. Alright, let's focus our attack on the flesh, because I feel like it's fitting for the wild creatures of the Fauvists to rip apart flesh. Ow. Impasta. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Here we go. Attack the flash. Now, actually, let's switch it up. Here, here, and here. Just in time for my cigar to go out, too. We're gonna take another 20% health damage because the flowers are still alive. That's probably going to stagger Merso because it's a pierce attack. Yeah, Rodeo have to do AoE the next turn. Here we go, time for an AoE. The problem with the AoE with this fight is the fact that it's going to reflect damage at me. Is this the flash? No, the flash is that one. Alright, here comes the AoE. Hopefully it will not kill the Wrath Flower. It will kill the Wrath Flower. And it's going to reflect the damage at me. And probably kill me. Let's check it out. Be not afraid. Let me finish this off. Goodbye, Rhodia. Yeah, that will kill Rhodia. Hold on. Let me retry. That was unideal. I know the Wrath Rose reflects damage, and I did 2 AoEs on it. It was supposed to be the Pursuant first, so it healed. So that was unideal. Let's try again. Let's burn a skill 1, skill 3 to maximize the application of stuff on it. And my cigar is over. Means the stream is about to over end too. Impasta. I guess the impasse is whenever she applies the I forgot the name of the vibrant palette vibrante. There we go. Here, here, and you go over there to the flesh. Fucking flower rolling 18. Ah, Merso gets staggered. Classic. Merso is about to die. That means we have to use Pursuance, and that has to be the first clash. It's probably not going to kill it. I don't know. Hopeless. What can we do here? Go. We need the healing and we need it now. And that staggered her. Unideal, I say. And she exploded. Ooh. It's very funny that I'm having troubles with this fight, with these two, when they should be winning, but maybe I'm just getting unlucky, or maybe I'm not paying enough attention. Maybe I should be clashing. Let's see what we can do here. Right. Flash. Flash. Gotta be careful this the Pierce attack, which is what's staggering Merso. Welcome, Carmen. It's been a while. Alright, captivity and stop. No, he's taking double damage because he's getting hit by green, not by Pierce. And all the greens are going for him, so flash against the green. Don't get greened. Don't turn green. And just use a clashable counter that reduces damage needed. Right. You will be missing the book reading of Isang's strange ass poems and work. Try not to kill yourself killing the Rafflower again, Rhodia. Alright, didn't die, but will probably get staggered the moment the round goes over. Not staggered, not yet at least. Alright. I think it's time for a double pursuits combo here for the maximum healing to ensure that we maintain our vitality. Unopposed because you're slower. Struggling because she's paralyzed. Maybe the heal will save us. We'll see. Oh no, she's gonna get staggered. Merso, save her. That pursuing better save her. 73. What's your reaction to Heath Cardo? I have been waiting a long time for this, and it's finally here. We're finally getting him, and it's going to be fun as fuck to have him. That's my reaction to it. Alright, let's pop another ego, just to be sure. Can't have Rhodia dying, right? Right, no longer paralyzed. We're good to go. Very good. That saves Rhodia. Now we can finally focus on him. Rhodia, hold on to that ego. Can you... is it enough? It might be. This is the flesh. Keep painting, boy. Here we go. I heard it's going to maybe, just maybe, OT is next. There's still some time to go for the end of the season, so hold on to your horses. And remember, it would be like a cop-out from Project Moon if to not give us all the Nurse Fathers and all the apprentices. But we never got Dongrang. Never forget that. All right, so the furries are fighting against God. Wow. The signpost is broken, so we focus on it. That's double damage. The furries are fighting against the abnormality that represents Jesus, as expected. Very good, very nice. There we go. Struggle a little bit there at the beginning because we were taking double damage from the Gluttony affinity on the Merso side, and Flowers were taking a lot of effort to kill. Hang on, doesn't mean how the spiders actually did it. Oh, this. Alright, let's claim our rewards. I don't think I have the modules for it, so we're gonna have to go to the window. We've asked me to do live streams at once. That's perfectly fine. Alright. Final thoughts about the Fauvists. They are very good, as expected for a new ID. They clash pretty good, and well, as long as they keep applying status effect, they're gonna do insane damage. Not my favorite type of IDs, to be honest. I'm still gonna be rocking Kurokumo Clan. Probably gonna be rocking it on the raid boss as well, just like I did it the first time. So, with our mirror dungeon complete, that is it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching today's ID study and book reading. If you enjoyed the stream, please recommend it to your friends. If you did not, please recommend it to your enemies. Now, if you really liked it and wish to give some support here to the channel, leave a like, a comment, a subscribe, a follow on Twitch, all that good stuff that helps like you wouldn't believe. Now, with that said, thank you again, and sweet kisses and goodbye.